That's hella trash. Hey, is my shit glitched out right now?
Nah. Oh, nah. Let's look. Wait, maybe.
Hold on, let me
Yeah, it is a little bit.
I know, because I just now adjusted my shit. They was like, nigga, you want to do that, it's gonna cost you. Yeah,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you back now.
now it's back. Welcome to another episode of Free Your Mind Podcast, where you come to free your mind and help others free theirs. I'm your co-host, and I go by the name of Woon, and I'm all about balance like the sun and the moon. What's poppin'?
Yes, sir. I am the other co-host, man. Go by the name of Selfmade. You got to tap in with self to know thyself always.
Yes,
I'm going to take this shit off.
yeah,
I thought I'd try it again, but it just it's doing too much.
Yeah, my
The
shit.
blur is cool. I can rock with the blur.
Yeah, I tried to do that shit, man, and the fucking it'll slow my shit down for whatever reason. I just now look, and my shit is I got the mirror shit on, so my shit is backwards and shit. You feel me? So
All right. You trying to flip it and
I don't even give a fuck about that shit. Let me see what that shit look like.
oh shit.
That's horrible. Let me see what that shit look like.
The chat open. Peace to the chat. Anybody that's in here early, fucking with us, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Shout out to y'all.
Oh shit, I didn't even tap in with Facebook.
Got the Facebook up, YouTube. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button, share button if you're on Facebook.
All of these shit.
You know what I'm saying? Help us with the algorithms. Say what's up though, man. Be the first one in the comments.
Yeah, how y'all doing today? What's up with the weather out there where y'all at in the city that y'all at?
Where I'm at is nigga whack. I ain't gonna hold you though. Like I said, there was a lot of people was talking about this storm out here in Sacramento was damn near offended. It was the way it sounded. It was like you might want to think about getting some sandbags or some shit, or you know what I'm saying, boarding up your windows. And it was nowhere near that severe. I swear it wasn't.
Right.
But I've been seeing though, just in general, the weather everywhere has been kind of crazy.
That's a fact.
Like, what was that? 99? Is that 99? Yeah, 99 coming into like Elk Grove. I heard that whole freeway was thrashed. Like, it was flooding and all types of shit.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, weather right now going crazy.
Yeah, it's wintertime. Look it.
Niggas need that water, though. At least out here. They always want to talk about droughts and all this extra shit. And they be complaining about the water that we get.
All right, yeah. So I just now dropped the link on my page and shit for the people who may want to pull up.
Yeah, let me do this.
Yeah, shit. Oh, that's one thing I gotta say. God damn it. Hey, I super appreciate everybody who's made the purchase for this fucking children's book. My word. Like that shit. He come in with the that's not related to the podcast, Ice. No, it's good with the logo. The one it just depends on what you're looking for when it comes down to the shit. But to start with, shit. Nah, hell no, not even them. I probably say CRST. I probably fuck with them. I heard some good things about like Swift and shit too. But it just depends on what type of program and shit works for you. Like, you know what I mean? But there's some companies that don't pay you. You know what I mean? Like if you're sitting for a certain amount of time, like they'll start paying you after the third day. Which you know what I mean. If you cool with that, that's cool. But if you trying to get your chicken, like sometimes you're gonna have to sit for a couple of days. Like especially like right now, the weather's bad, so sometimes you get to them states that snow and shit, you can't really move, so they won't pay you for sitting there. Like you know what I mean? So definitely look into that when you're looking for certain places because they'll try to jack your ass off if you don't like you know what I mean negotiate your shit. Like you know what I mean. Just make sure you get paid anytime that you in that truck for real.
Right.
But yeah, nah. The company that I'm with, U.S. Express, fuck with it. Swift. I think Sierra England. They all three of them. I believe that they have that option to do that for sure. Um, and I think what's the other one? Western Express. I think they pretty cool and shit too. So it just depends on how you negotiate your shit. Yeah, no, you see Swift and shit. They be moving for real.
Oh, that's the companies, trucking companies.
Hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, just let me know. Because I got all the answers to the endorsement test and shit too. Yeah, I don't know if you got your endorsements and shit, but I got all the answers to all of the tests.
They just get that shit back to you when you done or something.
They give them to you for the people who ask. They give them to you from the company that I was going to schooling with. Because of course, the more endorsements that you have with them, the more that they can get you out on the road and bust out certain loads and shit.
So
You feel
it's
me?
helping them and shit too. Yeah.
Exactly. So shit, they was like, yeah, because the dude pulled me to the side. He was like, man, we got all the answers for real. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to do it, because you got to get it within that first year, or you got to take everything over. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah, I got all the answers. Niggas been hitting me up ever since I had that shit.
Right. For reals.
You got them too? Okay, yeah, it's up then. Uh,
You solid then.
but yeah, but now, shout out to everybody who's been fucking with my book. My God, that
Oh yeah,
shit,
how that's been going?
man, all day. I literally just now got a fucking a DM from somebody that let me know that they just now sent me the money for they hard copy and shit. But that shit's been going up all yesterday and all this morning and shit for real.
Mm.
So it's just like I'm super humbled by that because like you know what I mean. It was just like damn, like it's there, but at the same time it's just like it's a children's book. It's a different avenue for me. I'm gonna say it like that. It's not I'm used to pushing either music or my DVD and shit.
Yeah. Right.
So going into this bag is kind of different, and that's what I meant to tell people. The turnaround is gonna be different because of the printing process and shit. You feel me? But outside of that though, like you know what I mean, people they understand as long as you understand that and you ain't in a rush. For the people who did get their books from either Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, I appreciate that. Y'all gonna get y'all shit quicker fucking with them. You know what I mean? But you ain't gonna get a signed autograph copy and you ain't gonna get the bookmarks. Like, you know what I mean? So fucking with me, you're gonna get all that. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just gonna take a little bit of time because of the printing process. But I already ordered everything yesterday. So for the people who's ordering after yesterday, it's gonna come quicker and it's gonna be less of a wait. But
Right.
super salute to y'all though, because that shit, I'm telling you, nigga, hey, my shit kept on going off all day. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that?
Bro, it's a whole
Literally
different.
right now, I just now got a text. How can I get your shit? Literally,
Right.
it's been going all day for real.
Bro,
Literally,
that shit crazy because like with music, I mean everybody fuck with music, but everybody got their own kind of taste when it come to music and shit. I feel like books is hella universal. You
that's
know
a
what I
fact.
mean? So it's like way more avenues you could go with, you know, dealing with books and shit. You're gonna reach a wider range of people, age groups, all the whole nine. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Yeah, that shit lit, bro. Hey, you wanna play the book commercial?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can pump that shit real quick while I take care of this, right? Because I gotta, because it's a business now. I gotta make sure I respond to
Right.
everybody. And shit.
Nah,
You playing
facts.
running real quick. You got it on your side?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good looks.
I am a new author and this is my first amazing children's book. Buy it online or DM me for a signed copy via Cash App.
Hey, that shit was shorter than what I thought it was going to be.
Hey, that music be getting me every time.
Hey, I don't think that people know like that that's something that the fucking that the publishing company put together. I don't think they put it together. So even when I seen it, you know, it just make you feel like kitty and shit.
Right. It reminded me of like them like them old videos where they where they marching from one place to another and shit, and they got
Yeah, hella vintage.
right
Hey,
for
that's
real.
hella funny.
Yeah, nah, I that's what I was finna do. Speaking of, I'll fix that. Let me just make
Yeah,
sure.
let me pop this bottle and shit real quick. I'm still celebrating. Hey, let y'all know this about this book, and then we can go into where we finna talk about, right? So I haven't even received my uh author's copies yet. Like none of them. Like no hardback and no paperback. I still ain't physically touched my own book, and other motherfuckers touch my shit. Not that I'm complaining, because that's super good. I appreciate the love, but I ain't even seen my own. I ain't touched my shit yet, so it still ain't been real to me yet. But I appreciate everybody for pulling up and grabbing that shit though, for real.
Okay, yep, I do got you. I was just making sure I had you on the Cash App.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, nigga, hey, I was thinking about that shit today. I got to cash app you the money for the fucking restream shit.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
I
We
hella
could
forgot
definitely
about
do
that.
that. I'm about to place my order tonight.
Boy, appreciate that.
Let me do the instant, man.
Just 1 second.
All right. So we got damn, I just had it up. Is desensitization, let me look at it. Gentrification and pagan beliefs good or bad things?
Right. Before we get into that, I have to look, man. So and shout out to Chris Posey, because I'm about to bring his name up, but he can see this, so I don't feel like I'm talking behind this nigga back and shit, right? But
Yeah.
we was going back and forth about what we was talking about shit earlier and shit, right? About the angels, uh about people being angels and shit, right?
Right.
He said humans aren't angels, but rain is. Okay, my niggas up. Um, so then somebody comes onto his post and shit. It was like, yeah, he's only here to cause confusion. Woody wow. And I said, oh shit. So you got somebody riding with you.
Mm.
He said humans have free will. Angels don't. I said, hey, look, man. I said, there was a lot of angels, Satan being one, that left with Satan against God's will.
Right.
Like, so I don't know if you understand what the definition of free will, but if them niggas is moving on their own accord, whatever's whatever. So I'm not here to cause confusion, right? And I was like, just pull up to the podcast. I'm like, just pull up. No
This
response.
hot seat is hot, bro. I told you. I
Man,
told him that shit the last time he was on. Like, that hot seat hot, huh? Like, you got to get bro out of here because
it's
it
different, man.
ran
Like
up.
it should be different. And people, I love that people like to speak, right? But you know, that just on that understanding level, shit get different.
It get real different when you on the podcast. You know what I mean?
It's a fact. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Um,
What you want to do first? A gentrification? Because I don't even know what the order is on that shit.
Desensitization, gentrification, and pagan beliefs, are they a good or a bad thing?
You want to get into pagan shit first?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was like. Let's get this one right here out the way.
Oh man.
The pagan beliefs.
Yeah, man. It's I didn't even see Lorianne in the building. What's popping? Like, let me make sure I'm multitasking on Facebook too. Shout out to you, Lorianne. I see you.
Peace.
But yeah, no, that paganism shit, man, or the pagan beliefs, or however you want to do it.
Like Christmas is pagan, Easter, all the different Halloween, all the shits.
Yeah, and you know to me, and I'm gonna just say it like this, and then I'm gonna give my definition. I'm gonna give the definition of what paganism is.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just like, nigga, we on our own accord and we gonna do shit how we do it. Period. I mean, I don't think it gets no more cut and dry than that.
When
right?
because I was like, man, the whole pagan shit. It's been a minute since I stepped in that bag, and just looking, just a surface real quick, search. It aligns with polytheism, which is like demonic and ghostly forces. It says supernatural beings in addition to gods, malevolent, not the other one. I forgot. Even in monotheistic religions, there can be belief in many demons, but maybe not worshipped how the polytheistic is viewing it. That's the only thing I could, what I'm saying? Like one side, and now, because I never really tapped into the both sides of that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But now looking at it, it's like one side is, the belief in the one God, the God is good all the time type shit, and then it seems like the polytheistic is the opposite, where they looking at the demonic shit, the ghostly shit, all the shit that the monotheistic religions aren't. You know what I'm saying?
And see, the crazy thing about that is that because I don't even know what you're looking up right now to keep it a band, because I haven't heard what you just now said, but it still aligns with, nigga, I created good and I created evil with the monotheistic beliefs.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So the only difference is that the polytheism probably don't want to say, well, it's not just this God that's doing, he's all good, but this other motherfucker be tripping, not knowing that it's all one thing, right?
Right.
But when it comes down to the non-pagan beliefs, it's just like, well, who can deem what is pagan and what is not? By definition of what pagan is, because now it's just like, okay, the belief and beliefs other than the main source of beliefs in God and shit, right? So it's just like, okay, well, who's more popular at this point? That's what they're ultimately saying and shit, right?
What side is? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because it's just like, well, if you're a Christian, then then what is Hebrew Israelite? Is them niggas pagan? If you're Hebrew Israelite, is them Muslim niggas pagan? If you're Muslim, is them Buddhist niggas pagan? Like, you know what I mean? So who can dictate what is what when it comes down to what's the main belief when it comes down to the shit? Like, you know what I mean?
That's funny though, because it's like, well, then who and what deemed Christmas a pagan holiday? Is it because it originated with a polytheism group of people?
And that's what I mean. See,
That's what they talk like. What? Yeah, because you feel me. At that point, you got to be like, all right, where is this? Like, who's deeming this? Because at the end of the day, the base of what I just took from it all is belief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all predicated upon your own understanding of shit. And then it would come back down to a group of people who are having that understanding to then try to create these holidays, or you know what I mean? Like whatever it is. So
Exactly.
like you said, now that it's done kind of flip flop, like it was polytheism until something flipped, and now they're trying to deem that other side. But it's crazy though, man, when you really think about it, because how can you deem the other side in a sense pagan, but still celebrate they holidays? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. From certain beliefs, as far as maybe Christians or even Hebrews go, they say that December 25th is indeed not Jesus's birth, but it's the birth of Nimrod, right?
Mm,
So when it comes down to that part of the game, that's why they would deem it, or that's one of the reasons why they would deem it a pagan holiday, because people are they're saying that they're blindly uh, celebrating somebody who, Nimrod. I don't know, too much about it, but I've heard about what this Nimrod character. So when it comes down to that, they're saying that we got the wool pulled over our eyes, thinking that we're celebrating Jesus's birth. But everybody knows when it comes down to biblical literature, it does not state Jesus's birth. But I haven't seen any literature that says that it's Nimrod's birthday. Like, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
there's so many different stories of this December 25th birth of multitude of different people. When it's just like, okay, but see, now are we taking these things for face value on some literal type of time, or what are we talking about? And I think that's what, why people just deem it just pagan, because they don't understand, the math behind the stories. Like, you know what I mean?
right. Yeah, it's I don't yeah, that whole, just considering whether or not if it's pagan makes it good or bad. You know what I'm saying? That aspect of it, like
Right.
I guess it's whatever, whatever however you look at it, your perception of it. Cause now like playing devil's advocate, what if you say like, oh well nigga, on this day they was slaughtering and killing all
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, just putting certain aspects in a certain box. And again, if we going by way of definition, it's just saying, people that don't fuck with mainstream shit and they did their own thing. And then some people would say that the last conversations that I had the other day, my partner was saying like, yeah, they don't even believe in God. But even when you look at the definition, it still has a reference to what they would call a pagan god. So they do have a belief in God. It's just not your God. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was saying like, in terms of the biblical shit, he was like, the Bible's real and shit. Because I'm like, well, how can you deem whose shit is true or not? Then he said,
Yeah.
the Bible is real. And I'm like, okay, but you're a Hebrew Israelite that studies out the same book that the Christians do. So that's a conflict in itself. So it's still perception based. Like, you know what I mean? So again, for me, when it comes down to what people would deem paganism, because I'm a fucking I don't really care about none of that shit for real. But when it comes down to just me doing my own shit, I'm a pagan. Like, nigga, I'm a what if I
Yeah, right.
start a goddamn a traditional holiday tomorrow, nigga, call that shit I am day.
They're gonna say
It's
it's
a pagan.
pagan.
It's a
They're
rap.
gonna say it's pagan for sure. Oh yeah, that's pagan.
That shit is crazy. So it's just like, you know, if you didn't, it seems like if you didn't, because you don't even have to have the first piece of literature, right? Because we know back in the day that things were passed down by word of mouth or oral tradition, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes down to that shit, it's just like, nigga, well, even though we don't have literature to back up what we have, this is our tradition for years on end. Like,
Yeah,
you know
just
what I mean?
passed down type shit.
Yeah, it's not new. Like, you know what I mean? So people just get scary and people, you know, they don't allow other motherfuckers to breathe and be them and be themselves and do all this other shit. And then they try to demonize it because people don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? But it's
Right.
just like, what do you accept to be true and why?
She said the definition implies a pagan is a person who is not religious or whose religion is not Judaism, Islam, or especially Christianity.
Why
That's
those
the
three?
that's the definition for the polytheism. Or are you saying for pagan? Let me cut these back off.
Now I think she said, I don't even know where she got that from, but it said implies, and that's a
Yeah,
key
that
word.
part. Yeah,
That's a
I
key word
definitely
in
picked
what
up on that.
you just now put up. Hey, but shout out to Miss Divine too, or Goddess Divine, my bad. Uh, she
Uh,
she definitely made a purchase on a book today, but she got there. I appreciate you, lady. Yeah, see, like I gotta pull up,
which is crazy, man. Hey,
and it
man.
really for me it really because I was about to pull up the definitions that I've came across, but at this point in time it don't matter because any definition for me is all going to tie into the same shit. So
That's what I'm
you know what I mean?
saying.
I can roll with any definition and it's still going to make sense.
I ain't never heard nothing when it came to pagan. I ain't never heard something be deemed pagan that didn't have zero association with religion in some way, shape, fashion, or form.
That part, nigga, say that again.
So that's why I'm like, when she says that implies a pagan is not, or is a person who is not religious, it's like that shit it don't make no sense. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's like
exactly.
the same days that they want to deem pagan or celebrate, whichever one, you know what
Right.
I'm saying, is always on some sort of like a holy day or some sort of, something happened that day on a religious aspect. So that shit just they confused. I mean, it's just like for real, it's really just like a Christian celebrating Halloween. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Getting
exactly.
all dressed up and shit in a sense. Because you're like, those is two different sides of the spectrum.
Right. And see again, when it comes down to see the belief in worship or of more than one God. See, but so they still believe in God.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not the mainstream shit that's
One.
popping. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, no matter how it's cut, it's you're still gonna get the same results. And again, you know, who can prove
Any of that
without a
shit.
reason, without a shadow of a doubt that this one God that we're talking about is the God, because now we gotta really appoint this shit, and we already know that the God that they're referring to is consciousness and energy, which is one thing, but which is all things. So however niggas want to play it, it's up. Like, you know what I mean? But just the spookism is what I'm more concerned with, like when it comes to that, because people are so scared because they don't know and they don't understand. So, you know, they stamp it and they put that stamp on there, then that stamp, you know, stamps get mailed out, you know, on letters and shit. So, you know, it spreads out, then everybody's reading these letters with the stamp on it. Like, nigga, nah, like that's not,
You're
you know,
getting
but
scared.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool if that's where you at. Like, you know what I mean? But at the
Facts.
end of the day, it's just like, man,
That transfer of energy right there.
right.
The spookism. That right there. The spookism. The
Yeah.
niggas get something, see something, you get spooked and pass they spookism on to the next nigga.
Like, take this.
For reals. They be turning away from shit, and that's man.
Hey,
They
pull that up.
unbalanced.
Pull that up so people can see that, bro. I can do that shit up too. I'm tripping.
Let me see.
Shit, someone once said to me that even atheism is a religion. A belief in nothing is still a belief system that one lives out in daily practice, like all other religions. Hey, that is absolutely correct for sure. Um, when I start breaking down this I am shit and shit, right? Uh, I think it was my nephew who asked me. He was like, "Are you an atheist?" Like, you know what I mean? And me, in the beginning, I was like, "Yeah." But then I had to think about that answer, or more or less think about the question, because I'm like, "Well, what all comes with being an atheist, right? And do I fit in every category? Like, you know what I mean?" And then I was like, "Hell no, I ain't no atheist," but I understand. Like, you know what I mean? I get it. So on that type of time, it's just like, yeah, I understand what they're saying, but that is, a religion. Like, you know what I mean? Just like how people tell us that this I am shit is a religion, and I understand that shit too. Um, but it's just like anything that you do on a regular basis to keep whatever you got popping going, you can say that that's a religion. Like, you know what I mean? So I get that. But yeah, atheism, like, because even a lot of atheists, I think, stand on that shit of they don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't prove anything, so they're just like, fuck it. Well, I don't fuck with none
Oh
of that.
right, yeah, I can
Yeah,
see that.
but I don't. I haven't. We got to get an atheist on here, self. I think we have to do that for real.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Just to
A
because
real
I want to
atheist though,
pull,
like
huh?
a real atheist,
Yeah,
not somebody. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? Somebody that know the whole shit.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm speaking on it loosely, but I understand that they don't have a belief in God or the devil. So it's just like, yeah, that's cool. But we would have to go into, well, what do you believe? Like, we know what you don't believe, but what do you believe?
Right.
Or what do
And
you know?
that's man. It's a trip. That whole pagan stuff. Just thinking about it, because um, I see. I didn't see. Oh, okay, yeah, it's up there. Um, but witchcraft, hoodoo, Greek gods. I'm gonna assume Egyptian gods.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like any gods that are plural is gonna fall under that pagan, aspect.
See,
It's
I
almost
like,
like, just thinking about us, right? Like coming up, when it comes to the knowledge, like
right,
we thought we was in the light, or we thought we was in the dark, whichever way you want to look at this shit. You know what I'm
right,
saying? We thought we was there until we got hit with the knowledge and realized, like, nigga, all the shit that we knew up until the point of, you feel me, opening that other door, you start to see, like, wait, hold on, this other door got way more shit in it
fact,
than this little compartment that I was in. You know what I'm saying? So like when you start getting into like the witchcraft, the hoodoo, the spookism, here we go. Like all the
fact,
shit that everybody else is telling you not to fuck with because of whatever fear that they got within themselves. Somebody told them, hey, don't fuck with this because nigga, this shit gonna have spirits taking out your soul at night, and just all this crazy shit, spookism shit, you know what I mean? You
right.
get past that and you actually crack that door open to see what is up with witchcraft. Like, how do you actually do it? How do you actually do voodoo or hoodoo? How do you actually
Right.
channel these Greek gods? Like, what's the process? When you start getting into that, all the
Wait,
spookism shit go out the window because it's real shit at the end of the day. It's not nothing to, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're dealing with real shit versus like spookism. Some shit your ass is just scared of because somebody told you to be scared type shit. You know what I'm saying?
definitely. I like the fact that Lorianne, hey, bring that up on, hold on,
Oh yeah.
excuse me, bring that up real quick. I like the fact that she said it breaks down spirituality versus God, right? Or God.
Mm,
And that versus is not in a competitive or combative type of way. It's just versus the belief of, right?
right.
Because again, if we talk about spirituality, we are all spirits, right? So
Facts.
I think as long as you understand that we're all spirits, then this God shit, and I hate to say it like this, but this God shit becomes irrelevant because it's just like, well, what is God? God is a spirit, and we're a spirit, so it's automatically connected. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So we embody what this is without the spookism, without the
Right.
the need to believe when we know what we are.
Facts.
What the fuck is the need to believe when you know what you are? Ain't that some crazy shit?
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's crazy. Like, nigga, y'all know I'm a spirit, but I still believe. No, nigga, no. You
Hell
know.
no.
What type of shit is that?
But they don't know. Them niggas don't be
But
knowing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think if we was to have a conversation, be like, hey, nigga, do you know that you're a spirit too? And if they say, well, I don't know, that's I'm just human, nigga. Like, are you? Like,
Hey,
what does that look like?
I was finna say,
Are
when
you
we
a
had
vessel?
that show the last time, when I was like, are we spirits or are we spirits in having a human experience? That
Right.
whole there's been a couple of niggas that tried to mend them and be like, yeah, no, we human, we in the body, right? Like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I love having these type of conversations because it essentially, deconstructs uh the 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 spookism or the walls that people have up. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing for real?
all
The
right.
spirit drives the body. Thank you, Tanya. Hey, real quick, hey, shout out to Lorianne and shit too, because I think yeah, Lorianne, I don't know if you made your purchase of the book yesterday or today, but appreciate you. Tanya made hers early, so I appreciate you too. I'm shouting out everybody who, when y'all pull up and I see that y'all pull up and y'all bought the book, I'm shouting y'all out. I don't give a fuck what's popping.
Right, for real.
I super appreciate y'all for real. But yeah, so just dealing with the again with the paganism is just like, if we don't understand what somebody else's belief is or why they're doing what they do. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that people probably hear it, they probably see it, and they don't understand it. So they're just like, oh, what? Write them off. They're pagan. Don't fuck with them niggas.
Right, yeah, exactly.
When you really, if you really trying to get understanding, you be like, nigga, I'm gonna pull up. And guess what? I want to know why y'all do what y'all do. And
Exactly.
if I can't relate to that shit, I'm slipping. I'm
Yeah.
lame to the game. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, if I can't in no way, shape, or form fuck with what you talking about, you must be from a different world or I'm crazy as hell. Like, you know what I mean? But
For real.
your viewpoint is gonna be based on this world. So it's just like, nigga, I gotta tap in. And if I don't, I can't just write you off just because I don't understand or just because I don't fuck with it. That's some hating ass shit. If I don't fuck with what you fuck with and I just demonize your ass, that's hater shit. That's some crazy shit for real.
He said, well, let's ask, why do Christians celebrate Christmas?
First of all, what's up with my motherfucking look, nigga? Hey, that's my look right there. Hey, cuz need to pull up for real.
Right, yeah.
Hey, that nigga need to pull up because I know he be on this shit. What's up with the look though? But let's answer that question. Let's deal with it. Because I hella got sidetracked. This shit. Said, well, let's ask why Christians celebrate Christmas. I think that it came so far down to, people just wanting to live. So you know what I mean? That's just like, let me say it like this, cuz, and I know you get it, right? Uh if we got a Crip history, right? And YG got a slapping ass song, or Sacramento shit, Gangsta Dre, or Mozzie, or whoever got a slapping ass song, he'd be like, nigga, y'all niggas listen to that shit? Yes. Why? Because the shit slaps. Like, you know what I mean? So when it come down to it, at the end of the day, it's just whatever moves you. Like, we're this is energy based. Like, you know what I mean? So even Christians may be under the guise that this is Jesus's birth, but they don't have any literature to back that. They don't have scripture to back that. So then it just becomes, okay, well, what's the science behind it? Now, other niggas have already understood that the sun on the winter solstice has that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So again, certain Christians know that part too, but they're not in a church saying that shit because it might make the pastor look bad for not expressing that to the congregation, right? So now that we move the line further, it's just like, nigga, we get that holiday off. It's paid. That's the only time when family can come together. Why not? Nigga, we get paid for this shit. Like, why not celebrate it? Like, you know what I mean? So
It used to be illegal.
it depends on who you ask that question to. And I can only say from a broad perspective that naturally is, if we get that time allotted to us to be able to be with family and get paid holidays, we gonna turn it up. Black people celebrate nigga motherfucking Cinco de Mayo. Why do we do that? Because it's time to turn up. Like, you know what I mean? The energy, it's all about the energy.
Anything to get niggas to turn up, they with it. You say, you turning up for what? Oh yeah, I'm there, nigga.
Right. And we get this shit paid. Yeah, niggas up for real. But I'm sorry.
Like he said, that's why our people is lost now.
Hey, look, let me say something to that. Because when people say that our people is lost, when it comes down to just having fun and celebrating, like that's lost. That's a lost cause because we haven't celebrated us like that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So this is what I mean. Anytime that we get a time to celebrate, nigga, let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? So we're trying to, that's what I mean about the energy. So we're just trying to gain that energy back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nigga, it's cool to kick it. It's cool to have fun. We didn't have too many down days and we didn't have too many, all that other shit. Let's turn, like, nigga, if it's, nigga, give me a day to dance. Nigga, I'm dancing.
But see, at the same time, though, they turning up.
Huh?
At the same time, though, these niggas turning up with no knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't gonna take it to that aspect. But I get what you're saying because on that type of time, it's just like, if we look at that, it's just like, okay, well, is there any teachings that come with this? And I think that's what Kwanzaa tried to incorporate. Like, you know what I mean? To where this day we talking about business, this day we talking about family, this day we talking about this. So Kwanzaa tried to incorporate that because they're not just saying, nigga, just have fun and turn up. Like, no, nigga, like incorporate, just little bits and pieces of things, and then we could probably try to make it pop. So I get it. But you're right though. But it's just like, niggas be like, fuck all that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like the ignorance is bliss. And
exactly.
I was in that state. That shit is lovely. You know what I'm saying? Like, you turn up, like you ain't worried about shit. Like you feel me? You following with what everybody else got going on, what everybody else is doing in the six. You know what I'm saying? Like for real.
Right.
But, and that's where that, knowledge of self come into play. Like once you start again peeking into that other side of what has been taught and shown you and shit, then you start to really, open your mind and your eyes and shit to a lot of different shit that you probably wouldn't have been fucking with if you knew type shit. You know what I'm saying? But
definitely,
that's the process. Everybody here for their steps and their own processes and shit. For a lot of people, it seems like shit has to happen for them to crack that other side and shit.
That's a fact. And see, even knowing that in the wintertime, because the sun isn't as prevalent as the rest of the year, niggas be depressed. Like, you know what I mean? And this is real facts. Niggas we ain't getting as much sun as we would usually get. Ooh, excuse me, knowing that sun be charging motherfuckers up. So we're just like, we gotta create something, right? We gotta be like, hey, as much light as we can get, let's make that shit pop. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that that's also important as well. So it just depends on just like you were saying, like the knowledge of self, where people are at. Do you know what's popping? Like, do you know how you interact with your surroundings in certain level? Like, it's like the shit, it goes so many different ways. So when it comes down to me, with the celebration of anything, it's just like anytime somebody gets an opportunity to have fun, nigga, I would say do it. Like, you know what I mean? just like you said, the ignorance is bliss, but we do also have to uh insert
I
the
think maybe.
level of self knowledge with that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So that's just like I said, we can birth a new holiday tomorrow, and it's just gonna be like, nigga, we finna turn up, but at the end of the day, we're gonna pass out these pamphlets, or as this celebration is going, we're gonna turn up, then we're gonna learn, then we're gonna turn, like, you know what I mean? So it just depends on how niggas gonna watch.
You said exactly. That's my point, y'all. We celebrate and shit, not understanding what we celebrate, and I know y'all know exactly where I'm coming from.
That's a fact.
Right, brothers is happy to celebrate because it's paid time off, but the history behind this shit, as y'all know, got nothing to do with us.
Hello?
Oh, with us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, look, man. Hey, on that type of time, a lot of this shit don't got to do with us, but we make the shit lit. You gotta.
Yeah, I think more so like I think what what you're trying to say is like
Sweet.
if it's Christmas, but see that's the thing though. It's black people. If we talking about melanated people, black people, whatever,
Right.
we don't take the holiday. We don't take the holiday like if it's Christmas, we don't take that day that we get off to celebrate and make it our own shit. No, we out buying the trees and setting up lights and shit in our house, and we're doing all the shit that they want us to do. So it goes back to like you were saying, the Kwanzaa thing. Like, okay, that's kind of like our own thing that we got started. Each day we do something different. Okay, so for the winter solstice or for Christmas, instead of buying a tree, we need to do something totally different to celebrate that time of year, because it is an energy thing. Like something is happening, in the world and the universe at that point. Same for Easter. It's just like we just need to do our own shit and set up our own, make up our own holidays in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having they shit.
And see, and hey, Self, remember, we was talking about that shit years ago. Remember that shit?
Facts.
We was talking about that, but see, imagine us again. We're gonna be pagans. If we do that shit, niggas gonna be like, hey, you know them pagan ass niggas started their own
Hey, I swear, we had did that shit. Like instead of doing Thanksgiving on the day that they did it, we did it on a whole, like it was like a different, called it something totally different. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just do your own shit. Create a whole different type of energy around the day. Instead of, absorbing they shit in a sense.
facts. And just like, and I see like excuse me, God is divine. We now see it takes a certain level of research and understanding to actually have people get that. Like, you know what I mean? And again, nature is going to show you ultimately what's behind probably all of these holidays to keep it a band. Like, you know what I mean? But it just depends on where your studying is at. But because people don't know that, like, you know what I mean? Now it's going to be some spookism that's associated with it because they don't know. The ignorance is just like, well, I don't know what it is, so it's just pagan. Like, you know what I mean? So on that type of time. But again, if we were to say, just like how they just now did Christopher Columbus, they switched that whole shit and they're trying to call it what is that shit?
Indigenous People Day.
Indigenous People Day. Thank you, sir. So I think that if we do that just like that with all of these other holidays, and we really, split the energy and say, what this is what y'all was taught that it was, but this is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? And niggas really, it really got to be a movement, man, for real. Like, you know what I mean? It would really have to be a lot of people behind it, but the understanding would have to be there first, for sure.
What up, Nashaya, man? Got Nashaya in the building. We was going.
It's cool. No, yeah. I'm just enjoying y'all.
Peace in the Shire. Let me put this up real quick though, because I like what she just now said right there. Hold on, boom.
Exactly.
That's what they say. If you scared, go to church.
Absolutely. Don't be out here in these streets.
They got something for you in there. They for sure got something for you in there that'll keep you nice and comfortable.
There's nothing wrong with going to church, but it's just like, it's just like y'all safe over there. You know what I mean? Y'all cool. It's Gucci. But we hold church everywhere. Like there's no place that this is the church.
It don't have to be Sunday. It ain't got to be Wednesday. You
Yeah, what's
know.
up with the shy though, man? What's good?
Oh, we just over here trying to stay dry and in the flood event we're having out here in the Sacramento region, but it's all right.
It's flooding over there by you. It's dry as hell over here. Cause look, no, I thought I was hearing a lot of different shit about this storm. Like it was supposed to be so crazy bad and shit, and I ain't really seen nothing. At least in my vicinity where I'm at, it ain't crazy.
You over there in the north though, right?
Yeah.
So you got like a lot of water and stuff protecting you, like the river and stuff. You kind of like off, but down here over next to the airport and like closer to downtown, trees is down. There's roads. Downtown's actually pretty messed up because a lot of trees went down. It was 70-mile-an-hour gusts, shaking the little trailer and everything like that. So,
Right,
but I think all in all, it wasn't as bad as people thought it was gonna be because people were saying like you should stock up for a few days and all this other
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm talking about.
It wasn't that hype, like that.
She said,
No, I'm just
dark out there.
Hey,
Hey, on my life, hey, my auntie had posted that shit earlier today, and that shit had me crying. She was really posting Bible scriptures with it, like, hey, you know how people be like, these are last days.
like beware type shit for real.
Yeah. Hey, she posted that shit. I think she was dead ass serious. But it's just I love it for the people who remember. Sacramento really actually had a flood, and it was like in the mid to early 90s, and niggas was in like boats and shit. Like, do y'all remember that?
Hell no.
Well, you was too young, so because I was only like
I was
9,
born in the
like
90s.
that. Yeah, you weren't even probably even born yet. But there was a time to where Sacramento really flooded for real. Like, you know what I mean? And that was
it's flat.
as a kid, that was the dopest shit ever because niggas was outside and you could see niggas on boats and different shit like that.
Right.
So it was like niggas flooded, but it's lit. And it was just lit, man. But like right now, it's just like a scared tactic, and it's just like, nah, nigga, like, I get prepared, of course, but man, write this shit out for real.
Yeah, that's a fact. So hey, was you trying to touch on paganism or did you want to jump to a different subject, Nashaya?
I mean, I'm just gonna say Jesus was a pagan, so hello. And
Wait.
man.
This guy always come in just gun busting. I'm curious to hear what that means.
So wait. Jesus believed in multiple gods?
Boy.
Well, I typed in the chat that thing monotheism is a misnomer. I would have to like do some research about like where this term really actually came from, monotheism. But even in the Bible, the first commandment from God is thou shalt have no other gods before me. So that should let you know right there that there are other gods, and often, and actually every time you see the word God in the Bible, in the Hebrew, it's plural. It's this word Elohim or Elohim, whatever, whatever which way you know it, but it's a plural term. So this whole monotheistic thing, and even probably that whole little argument is what I would call a red herring, because it doesn't actually exist in fact.
Right.
See, man, look, from the let me say it like this, from the, because I was gonna put some I am shit, but from the Trinity perspective, the three is the one. Like, you know what I mean? So the poly is the mono. Like, you know what I mean? So it just depends on what type of understanding that you have, or what type of understanding that you're accepting, and then you go from there. So when you say, it's a misnomer, I get it. But at the same time, it's kind of true, but it's not, because everything will have to stem from one thing, but one thing is everything and everything is one thing. So it just depends on where you at. And this is why the I am shit is so lit, because if you say it's nigga 2, yep, it's 2. If you say it's 3, yep, you say it's 5,000, yep, it's all that shit.
I mean, well, even if you just break down this word, though, this word God, right? I would say it's my experience of people that word they're typically equating to power, right? And so it's really, and just like it's God, it says God isn't all. Anything can have power over you, and I think maybe the idea behind monotheism is to only be given the what people believe to be the creative force, their time, attention, their soul, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. It's just like, when it comes down to that part of the conversation, it's just like, okay, because I like to ask people, well, what does God consist of, right? Because even if you believe in it, just like you said with the misnomer, with the monotheism, it's just like, okay, well, God is, there's a God head, there's a God body, the Trinity and shit, right? But it's just like, okay, well, what is that breakdown? What is God made of? And people would say everything, right? So it's just like, okay, well, what is it though? Like, you know what I mean? What is this force? What is this power? What is this thing? Right? And it's just like, certain people would say, well, it's something that we can't wrap our minds around. It's something that's so deep that we can't wrap our minds around. But then people would still defend it as if they got it on lock. So that right there is just, it's a contradiction in understanding when we're talking about understanding and belief. Because it's just like,
Well,
well, you're trying to say that you don't know what this thing is, or you can't fully understand it, but then you say, well, this is, but it is what it is, and not fuck with this shit. So you can't play both sides of the fence when it
I can
comes.
equally say that about things that exist, like in our quote unquote material reality, without any hocus pocus, like the stuff we can touch, feel, and see. And so,
Right.
like, there's the sun, right? The actual sun. And from what they told us, it's like some ridiculous amount of heat that's coming off of it, right? And so,
Right.
although they're saying that, okay, we understand it, we see how it works, we see it's there, we can't go over right next to it that they made us aware of, is what I'll
Yeah,
say.
I
And
understand what
so
I'm saying.
though we could say that we understand the sun, or like know about the sun, how much do we really? Because we can't actually like get close of it because of, I guess, what I will call right now the laws of nature.
Got you. And see, just like you said, that the great point that you said is that what they tell us, right? And it's
Right.
just
Yeah.
like, so what we do know and what we do understand is that, that the sun is made up of elements, right? So it's just like, okay, well, if the sun is made up of elements, then I know that elements are everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? We understand what the sun is by what the sun does,
Right.
right? And so again, like this conversation would lead me to say, well, people don't. They like, well, we don't know what God is, right? We can't understand, but everything that's in our reality is God's creation, right? So that's how we understand God, by everything that's around. Like if we got Nashaya that leaves his art pieces all over his house, right? This is detective work. If we come in, Nashaya has passed on. Nashaya moved to a different realm. Who is
God
Nashaya?
forbid.
Right. Who is Nashaya? So we go into your house and we see a whole bunch of different art pieces and shit like that. Everything that you ever wanted to jot down and just do your shit, right? Oh, he like this, he did that, this, that. We have an understanding of who Nashaya is through his creation. We are made in God's image. We are the reflection.
I think we only have a percept. You could only ever have a perception, because it's like at the end of the Truman Show when Christoph is talking to Truman. He said, because he's supposed to be the God character or whatever, and so he's like, I know you better than you know yourself. And Truman goes, you never had a camera inside my head, you know. And so though like clues, can be like left in the exterior realm. Even the scripture says God's thoughts are not our thoughts, his ways are not our ways, and even what we perceive of him, we see dimly.
So again, where did our thoughts come from? We are the image of God. We can't, if it's not our thoughts, whose thoughts are they?
You're not your reflection.
I'm sorry?
You're not your reflection.
I don't know. You have to be getting a little bit more into depth in that.
Your reflection is an image of you, right?
Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not you. Woon. I mean, even I'm not seeing actually you right now. I'm seeing a recalibration of light and digital and all some other hocus pocus, the real magic that they're doing on here. That's not even.
So what are you seeing?
I'm seeing. I'm actually seeing your reflection.
As what?
Just what it is, but it's not tangible. That's not Woon. I'm actually like, it's Woon over there on this image. I understand that, right? But this is not him that I'm seeing on the screen. This is not the real Woon. This is my cell phone broadcasting Woon to me.
Okay.
So if you see me in real life, you would say the same thing?
No, I would say this is the real Woon, not his reflection.
So wait.
So look. So you saying that I don't look how I look digitally, physically?
Is this the essence
I'm saying
that you would get physically in person?
I've been consistent.
See, I'm seeing the essence right now. I'm seeing the essence right now. But if I was in the same spot, I would be seeing him.
Gotcha. Okay. So you don't think that my essence can penetrate what this digital shit is?
That's what it's doing. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it's still like you can't touch me. You can't.
We're talking about. I'm talking about not physical. I'm not a physical being. So you have to understand that first. Everything is energy based and consciousness based.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you're seeing me right now. And this is my point of the whole God thing. You don't even have to understand. You don't have to see a physical God in order to understand what God is. The image or the imagination is the reflection of God. That's why the image, we're made in God's image, the imagination.
Every single
understanding something. Wait, hold on. Wait. Understanding something is not the same as being something, because you could understand the sun all you want, but if you were the sun, you could be where the sun is.
So you are where the sun is.
Exactly.
I'm not in. So now we're talking about proximity.
Don't do me. Don't do me. You are where the sun is.
We're talking about proximity now.
We're not talking about proximity.
The sun is in its place.
Wait.
You
share the same space as the sun, so you're where the sun is. Period.
Yeah.
You can say
you're literally connected to it.
Yeah, you can say that you're not. Or is the sun not in you right now?
I am the sun.
Everything is not.
What are we talking about? Don't do me the shy. Don't. We got company.
Wait, no, but it goes back to what I was saying though, because you keep saying you make these you've made mention many times. You say we are made in the image, and that's why I threw it out there. I was like, hold on, he thinks that he's the reflection, or he has, there's something going on with this thought process. Because
when I say the image, I'm only referring to when people say that they cannot fathom what God's mind is, right? So if two things. So if we cannot fathom, if you said it earlier, our mind is not God's mind. Well, where do we get our mind from? That's one. Two, on the imagery, the imagination part, we're only what God's imagination is. You understand what I'm trying to say? So there's no separation. So by default on that, we are what God is. You cannot say, I cannot not look at you
We
and
were.
say, wait, real quick. I'm sorry?
We were.
We are.
Or still am.
If you don't think so, then that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to take you against that. But what I'm saying is that I don't know if you study certain things, but I have to go here real quick. When people in the East Coast say, you know, what's up, God? What's up, son? What's up, King? All this other shit, they already cracked the code. They know, like, you know what I mean? They know what this is. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it it depends on where you're at when you look at what it is, and it's just like they already understand it. Where else can we? How are we created or no? Did we self-create?
No.
Okay, I say yes, but you say no, so that's absolutely fine. So if you say we didn't create ourselves, then we are a creation of God. That means that we came straight from God. Straight from.
Right.
Not third party, not none of this shit. We came straight from. Right?
Right.
So everything that God has, we have. So my follow-up question with that statement would be, what do you think God consists of? In terms of the makeup.
We already know the answer to that question. It's just, you know, that word spirit just means energy or vibration or consciousness.
Thank you. That's what I was saying. We got company, man. So they
So wait. So on that note, what I would say is, because you said we are what God is, and then I said we were, and you asked where our thoughts came from, and while you were, you know, while I was reflecting on this question,
no, go ahead, you got it.
Came to my mind that, okay, when we got here at a baseline of consciousness, yeah, that's where all our thoughts come from. But we get to choose after that. And we're seeing that with things that are coming into our reality, like artificial intelligence and things like that, where it's given a baseline code from which it can learn and take on information and experiences with users and different things that are out on the internet. And then it forms its own quote unquote, like I think they call them learning set, or I don't know the exact technical terminology, but I'm going to say the word consciousness, you know, for sake of this conversation. You know, it forms its own consciousness or use case for, you know, for itself. And so
when you say forms its own consciousness, because I read that as you're saying that we ultimately break off our consciousness, and I'm just taking it there. So follow me. So you're saying because we came here in this particular shell of the spirit, right? Then that means that our consciousness is now something foreign to the creator. And I just don't think that that's true. Because there's nothing new under the sun, right? So that means even if we in this physical form formulate our thoughts, those thoughts has still already been formed. I formed thee in the womb. So so what I'm saying is that regardless to I don't give a fuck if it's a cat. That's still a reflection of God.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if it's an ant. That's still a reflection. I don't care what it is.
AI, artificial intelligence.
You're not your reflection. But you're not your reflection.
What am I a reflection of?
No, I'm saying if you were standing in front of the mirror and you looking at your reflection, that is not you. You are you.
So what is me?
I have no right to define you, sir.
No. We ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
From your conversation, from what you just now said, what would define?
Okay, from what I could see, Woon is looks like he's maybe late 30s, male, wearing a goofy hat.
Wait.
You're flesh and bone. You're okay. No, you're flesh and bone.
It's different.
You're flesh and bone. You're tangible. You're tangible, is what I'm saying. You are tangible.
Okay. Again, so are you saying that the physical me is not the spiritual me? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying if you're standing in front of a physical mirror and you see a reflection, that is not you. It's actually you. It's actually you. Look, if you understand the science behind it, if you understand the science behind how a mirror works, by the time what you're seeing hits your eyes, that is actually the past. So there's no way physically or that it could be you.
But where does that mirror get that energy from? Where is it coming from?
From you, the real you.
That's all. That's
But also what I'm saying is you're the reflection trying to say that you're the real God.
That don't even make sense, though.
Hey, Nashaya.
Well, but the speech that he's using is congruent with that thought process.
Hey, I don't know how many people can see this, but I say I'm nothing and everything at the same time. So I'm gonna agree with what you're saying. You're not saying anything wrong, right? So the nothing part is what you're holding on to, but you're not balancing that with the everything, right? There's a balance between all things. So you're trying to say, well, you're not your reflection. I'm not, but I am. Because where does the reflection even come from? You're saying that there's a space in between the real me bouncing off of the not me. But it's still me.
Time.
Nashaya.
No, you are present.
Am I me? Am I me when I move?
Yes. Honestly, the actual truth of that, the literal truth of that is everything I'm seeing is in the past right now.
I get that. That's absolutely fine. Even the light that you receive is old. The energy that we get from the sun is old. Us looking up at the stars, that shit is old. Right? So if you're going to go there, then we can say that everything is imaginary. Again, the image of God, the imagination, right? The reality is only what you make true, right? And this is why you have to either make believe or realize things, meaning to make it real. Right? You're not listening to Shai. I'm giving you what you're telling me, and I'm just breaking it down for you so that we can get the same understanding. I'm not saying that you're saying anything wrong. I'm just breaking down what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that just like Miss Divine or Goddess Divine just now said, we're omnipresent. Do you know what that means?
Do I know what omnipresent means?
I'm not talking to Selfmade.
I mean, I assume the question's rhetorical, so we can move on.
I mean, of course it's rhetorical, but I'm just saying, like, if you have an understanding of that, then it's just like to say, well, even though you're saying that my reflection is not me, the omnipresence says that reflection is me. You don't have to accept it.
That reflection is not present. Hold on, that reflection is not present as soon as you leave that time and space.
Nashaya, do you take pictures in life?
Those are not reflections. Why are you trying to change the topic?
What is a picture, Nashaya?
It's like a seal almost.
It's an image of you, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. An image in God's image.
But look, it's not me though. But you're not gonna say, because look, I've literally been in court, right? And y'all know me as Nashaya, right? Y'all know me as Nashaya. I'll tell you how like serious this stuff is actually in reality, because obviously that's not my government name, but I, in my life and travels, have been in different type of sovereign type movements and things like that in that nature. At times, defending myself from the reality of things, and so I've literally been in the court.
Talking about yours,
dude. Everyone has a part.
So everybody is omnipresent.
No, everyone's present where they are.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways.
that was a set question. He was like, yeah, they are where they, of course, because it's omnipresent.
No, omnipresent means present everywhere.
Where's everyone at, Nashaya?
It means present. It means present everywhere at all
Where's
times, and
everyone?
no one here has the ability, other than over like the internet and through technology, to actually be present in all places.
Nashaya, I'm just asking you a question. Where's everyone at? Everywhere?
They at where they at?
I would say that everyone is everywhere.
No, they're at where they're at, and probably what you said too. But they at you at where you at. I'm at where I'm at.
Why do you want to fight me? I'm trying to make.
I'm trying to help you.
This one, man. I'm gonna go roll something.
I'm trying to help you.
I'm agreeing with you though. I promise you, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not saying that you're saying anything wrong with you. Now,
okay, let me ask you this: is there accountability?
Huh?
Is there accountability? Who are people as the image accountable to?
You said accountable. What is so when you say accountable? Can we get an understanding of what you're talking about?
Please.
Well, I guess to have an understanding about accountability, you would have to deal with things like responsibility. No, I'm saying like even just like the concept of accountability, it contains like lots of other concepts in it, which go into like societal things, cultural things, maybe even religious things, moral things, and they all have to do with responsibility.
So is it singular or plural?
Accountability is
accountability.
Is it perception based? Or is it natural law?
Okay, now we're moving. So, is that your answer? Natural law?
No, I'm asking you. So, are you saying that accountability is one's perception, or is it natural law?
Perception.
We can only perceive nature.
Because I'm gonna ask you this: are we natural born sinners or no?
I like how he takes these breaks, bro, because it makes
I love it.
Like he's thinking.
Like, yeah, no, we ain't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all good. I'm just asking questions. And I'm not trying to ask. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to answer your question with that question, but we're going to build a space to where we have an understanding of what we're talking about when we talk about accountability.
See, that word sinner has major moral implications attached to it. To me, it just means
based on what?
Constructs that exist. You know, constructs.
So you're saying perception is the answer? Is your answer perception?
Well, no. I was gonna give my answer. Well, I was just to qualify on what I believe what sinner is to me. It just means outside of original intention.
Of original intention?
Yeah, so the original code of things outside of original code is what that means to me.
Code?
Nature. Because I think we agree that that's the law that's running everything.
So what's the code of nature?
You find out when you break it.
I'm just asking a real question. What's the code of nature?
No, that's my legit answer. So like to answer your first question, I would have to say yes, because that's the only way to learn through the environment.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, or I'm gonna ask you. I'm not even gonna tell you. Do you think that a part of nature, one of the main codes is self-preservation, or what do you think?
Of nature?
Yeah.
Survival. Literally.
You're asking me this question, and we operate in a society that's based on survival and not cooperation. And so when you asked me, I wanted to, I immediately wanted to say that cooperation is like the highest thing, because that's what we see happening in the natural environment. Everything is cooperating, but it is for survival. So I just didn't want to just spit it out so quickly.
You're good, and I love how you just like Self just now said, think about the questions and let them, just a little bit, just boil it up and twist it up a little bit, or stir it around a little bit. So when it comes down to that, right? And again, this is based on the premise that we did not create ourselves, right? So if we didn't create ourselves and we're thrown into a jungle, we didn't create the situation. We're thrown into this jungle, and the only thing that we know is I have to survive, right? When you think about it like that, can anything that you do, can you be held accountable for your driving spirit to survive?
I guess in the sense that you're talking about, that would just be dealing with a belief set that God wasn't giving, that we didn't have the original instructions. But it kind of goes back to what we were saying. I was like, we had the baseline code, on God nature, and probably children have it. Probably children.
Wait. But what are you defining as the baseline code?
The code that makes everything around you serve you, which is what we do for children.
Okay, right there. So in the beginning, according to biblical scripture, was there not an introduction to both the knowledge of good and evil?
You mean like the original set of instructions from God in the Bible?
I'm saying, was there not? Because if we go, let's go beyond that.
Yeah.
Naturally, what did the angels do before humans even came into existence?
They stood in their positions.
They went against God.
Thank you. So when it comes down to that, they were thinking about self.
I mean, we're talking. See, it's gonna be hard for you guys to have a conversation with me like about it, because like I have like he said they went against God, and then you also said before humans came on the scene, but I actually understand it to be completely different, from that, just based on my extra biblical studies.
Okay, so do you think that angels, or do you think that Satan? Do you believe in Satan as far as the biblical scripture depicts it?
I don't believe in how people traditionally believe in it. All right, there was an angel named Lucifer. There was an entity, or something like that. All right, and it was it had free will. Everything created has free will.
For what purpose?
So we can choose.
As an angel?
No. Hold on, wait, real quick. So you got the free will to choose. Why?
Because I guess God wants to be chosen. I'm sorry.
So imagine if you don't have the option to choose, that means you got to choose that means you have to say everything is not you. If you don't have the freedom of choice, you're not who you are. Am I
right? Right.
Okay.
You're a robot. You're a robot.
So that ties into nature when I'm talking about self-preservation, right? The survival of my name depends on the options that I'm able to choose. So therefore, when it comes down to that, if God has given me this creation right, not even a birthright, creation right, that means even God understands that this nigga's going to do what he wants to do in order to be who he is. So anything that follows behind that should not come with a repercussion, aka free will.
It's not.
Wait. AKA free will should not come with punishment.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
Accountability.
Are you calling it punishment because an error correcting code came through? An error correcting code of nature came through? Is that what you're calling punishment?
What are you talking about when it comes down to accountability?
Well, I asked you that question.
That's what I'm saying. This whole time I've been trying to see what your understanding of accountability is. That's why we're having this conversation right now. I said that in the beginning. I said, what is your understanding of accountability? I've been said that.
What? Okay, let me rephrase the question then, since we've had this conversation.
I'm focused,
What
man.
law? Well, no. What law? No. What law are you living by? What law are you living by?
Okay, great question. Okay, so when it comes down to the law, right? If we have free will, what is the law?
Come on, man.
A measure. It's a measure. It's a standard.
Hey, real quick, Nishai, I want you to think about that question. If we have free will, what is a law? Think
A
about
standard
that.
by which one? It's a standard.
All right, I don't want you to answer that fast, but I want you to think about what I'm really saying for real. If we have free will, what is a law?
A choice.
Whose choice?
Yours.
So we create the laws?
They exist.
Who created them?
Source.
Am I not the source?
You're an image. You're an image.
Hey, see, this is what I mean. So when it comes down to of just being,
I am y'all balanced. Just so you know, I'm y'all balanced.
No. Look. Trust me. I understand your presence, and I'm not trying to downplay your presence. Your presence is lit.
Oh,
I'm not ever going to tell you that. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to the spookism of what people think that we should live by, especially when we talk about, just having this experience, right? When it comes down to having this experience, who can be faulted? Where did we get this programming from? Now, if we wait, real quick. If we created ourselves and we created ourselves to say, hey, you want to know what? You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. And then we do that shit. Okay, yeah, I get it. But if we're set with a set laws, like you just now said, and those laws are embedded in us, then why are we complaining about what we do? Now, moral to me is a perspective or a perception. If as Nashaya says, man, you want to know what? I know I'm better than this shit. Then guess what? Nashaya has to deal with that. Only God can judge me. Who is the God of Nashaya? Hopefully, you might give me a different answer, but the God of Woon is Woon. So if I can only judge me. Niggas don't know my life. Like, you know what I mean? I tell niggas my life, but you don't know my life. But if I bring you in and I say, hey, you want to know what? I'm not going to do that. And guess what? You reap what you sow. All of these things are keys to life. Like, you reap what you sow. We're dualistic energy. So when it comes down to anything, how can you say, well, I need to or I should, what you gonna do? Hang yourself? No.
Some people do.
Some people do because they don't accept themselves. They don't know that they're what this is. And I get it. I've been there. I've been like, nigga, this shit.
You can't run.
What you gonna do? Exactly. So what you gonna do when you come back for the people who know about reincarnation? What are you gonna do?
Well, apparently y'all don't be remembering or be getting the information later on.
Huh?
Apparently the reincarnators don't be remembering, or they just they be 30.
It's in the DNA.
Coming back.
It's in the code. It's in the code.
I believe the only reincarnation is through children. That's my personal belief.
Yeah, that exactly.
It's in the code. Yeah. That's exactly what I was saying. It's in
my
the
child's
code.
not me. I'm not living my son's life. He's living his own life. He an image of me, but he's
code. Is your code installed into his vessel?
Yeah, mixed with someone else's.
Do you learn from your child?
That's all that matters.
About myself, yes.
Done deal. That's all I'm saying. So when it comes down to that, it's just like the cycle of things. Okay, yeah, we get it, but I'm not telling anybody to be who they think that they're not. Go ahead, like if you don't think that being whatever is, if it goes against your code, then don't fucking do it. Simple as that. But if you feel that you need to do whatever just to have that experience, because when we're talking about intentions, let me say this real quick. When we're talking about intentions, right? Tension is what? It's friction. It's energy that needs to be addressed. Intention. So the inner tension that I have in me drives me to release that tension. You understand what I'm trying to say? So for me to release that tension, my intentions are going to be to release that because it's intention. I need to get it out. And this is why we exist, to get out. Anything EX means to get out, right? So therefore, anything that's my intentions, I need to get it out. So I cannot be the natural drive that has these intentions. I cannot victimize myself by exploring these intentions. This is just naturally what I'm going to do. Hold on, wait, real quick. This is naturally what I'm going to do. So when we talk about, oh, well, why did you cheat on me? Why did you do that? Nigga, because this is what I wanted to do. It's not cheating. It's cheating because maybe I told you that I want to be with you and so do you. But did we have the conversation to say, do you really want to stop? Do you really know yourself? Do you really want to stop fucking with all these other females? And sometimes you lie to yourself. So that when you say accountability, that's where that's going to play in at, is if you cheat yourself, right?
Okay.
Right there. So I told you I'm not disagreeing with you, Nashaya. So when it comes to that, it's just like, but are you cheating yourself, or do you have accountability when you don't do the shit that you feel like you want to do? How free are you? Are you accountable for keeping yourself in a box? No, because nigga, you're not even living your life. So it's just like, well, now where's the accountability at? The only thing you have to do is live your life. So the accountability just means what? Do what you feel like doing. And it sounds crazy, but the accountability.
Do what you know is right. Do what you know is right.
Do what you feel like doing. What are you here to do?
How?
Nashaya, what are you here to do? Are you here to do what you're here to do? Or are you here to do what Woon tells you that you need to do?
What I'm saying is, before I explain myself, we repeat all experiences, right?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
And so over time, through repeating experiences in different types of ways, in different types of situations, with different type of people, and different locations and things like that, it's been my observation, from just existing here, that people figure out a right way, even if it's just right for them.
Through what? Huh? Through what? How do they figure it out?
Experience.
Does that experience entail doing some wrong shit?
You don't know that unless you only way you know it's wrong, right? I don't want to talk about any type of moral or like social pressures that might be on someone, but it's kind of like like I have this heater here, right?
Right.
I've burned myself before, not on this particular thing, but I've burned myself with fire before. So it's like, if you make a decision to like burn yourself again, how can that be looked at as the right thing?
Because anything that you're continuing to do is serving you until you no longer do it. When it no longer serves you, you would no longer do it. Period. Think about people who are, I hate to say it like this because it's so deep for some people, but think about being in an abusive relationship, right? It's just like, I know when I get home, this nigga's gonna be drunk and he gonna beat my ass. But guess what? I'm going home anyway. And you think in your mind, why do I go home to this motherfucker who I know gonna beat my ass, right? Let me switch the topic. Let me switch that. Like, that might be too harsh. As a kid, when you know that your parents is gonna whoop you for doing some bad shit, but guess what you say? I'm gonna do this shit anyway. Why? Because I need to be who I need to be. Not necessarily saying that it's bad, but this is experience or experiences that I need to have to take me to the next level or to take me to a new reality. It's going to further my woonism. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the accountability only comes when you recognize who you are. The accountability is not saying that was bad. The accountability is saying, nigga, it's up. If that,
especially if you wanted to do it.
Facts.
Because if you don't,
people don't have their own desires and wants. People are driven like cattle.
What?
There we go. Hey, that's that we rats in the cage shit.
Facts. That you think you believe in what's that MK mind control?
MK Ultra.
I believe that what people expose themselves to and consume has an effect on their activities, and most of what people expose themselves to and consume is not to nature.
Hey, that's a fact, Nashaya. You're not saying anything wrong, but guess what? Where's the design come from?
Again, it's always going to stem back to that.
To the source.
The highest form of technology on this earth does not come close to a human being.
Okay, so can do human beings program technology?
And it's beneath us still.
I'm asking you a question. Do human beings program technology? Yeah. Do all human beings naturally know how to fuck with technology?
No.
What?
Nashaya. So either way you want to chop it, I'm gonna agree with
you. If you take one of these things over there on that little island where they killing people who come on, all right, and you drop a cell phone down there, you think they're gonna FaceTime us back? Like, bro.
So who do you? So again, that question was based on what you just said.
How would they have any reference? They wouldn't have any reference or frame of thought on how to use it.
Okay, but you said technology is not above the human mind, right?
They'll figure it out. That's the whole point.
They're gonna ultimately crack the code, right?
You're giving it to them.
Yeah, because technology comes from the human mind.
There's no guarantee of that.
Okay, well, that goes against what you just now said. So technology can be better than the human mind.
Just because something is not understood does not mean it's better than them. Hold on, no, that's 100. Just because, you know, that's like saying because I do understand how it works, but it's like if I didn't know how this works, right? You know, that's like saying that this is better than a human. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so
just because the human doesn't have a capacity or reference to operate it.
So I asked you, will they eventually figure it out? You would have to say yes.
I mean, like, come on. How could you say that they couldn't? It was made by a human.
It's made by a human, so it's not bigger than you. I'm agreeing with you right now.
The pyramids. They said we made the pyramids. Can't redo it.
Okay, so what do you think about that? You think that it's not a human?
I don't think people did it. I don't personally believe people did it. But
so you think it's not human? If it's not human,
are you defining us as human?
No, it's not. I'm talking about
it's extra. It's angelic or extraterrestrial or, you know, a high form of technology.
Who do you think built the pyramids?
Like, who do I think? Or like, what I will say is what I've read. Well, I can only go off what I read because I wasn't there, and I can't even think. You know, I can't think about something where So just from my studies, I don't believe that mankind.
Saying that we can't recreate it as humans. We can't recreate it. So who created it?
I said angels, ET. People have words for them.
Okay.
You believe in that?
Yeah.
I mean, the science, the physical science says it's built from the top down. the physical, like this. Yeah, y'all go have a search in the rabbit hole about all the stuff, but like it's obvious to people. You know, either we had the technology and we lost it, or it was not our technology.
That point right there. So if we had it and we lost it, and this is a critical question I'm gonna ask you, do you think that evolution is taking us forward or evolution is taking us back?
Backwards.
So do you think that we're never going to crack the code to see what that pyramid shit is about?
It's already known. It's just not for the mass.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So, no answer.
I know. It's already known. It's gonna be known forever.
Yeah, it's not known. Like it just depends on what you're tapping in with. But let's go back to the accountability because I know there's other topics that we got to cover and shit. The reason why I'm going back to accountability because I want you to understand, not just you, because there's a lot of people who talk about accountability and shit, right? So I'm not trying to. I think accountability is a misnomer, just like you said about the monotheistic shit, right? I think accountability is a misnomer to where people think that, well, it comes down to, well, you have to do this and you have to do that, or you should do this, or you should do that. But when it comes down to the level of saying, I'm just evolving, what are we talking about? Like, you know what I mean? So now it just comes down to, well, yeah, and this is why we are a forgiving beings, right? If everything was supposed to be what it is, then why do we forgive, right? The accountability comes with the experience and the growth of everything is all tied in. So when we talk about evolution, like, bro, we have to go through bad shit in order to get to good shit, quote unquote, for the bad and good. But what I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
that's the answer to the other question. You said, "Are we all natural born sinners?"
Yeah, so exactly. So these stages that we go through are going to be a reflection of who we are and who we're going to be, or who we already are in the I am stance, right? So when it comes down to
So what about the sun?
Huh?
Then what about the sun?
What about it?
Because the sun has been standing in the sky, like the sun has not died.
Yeah.
And you told me, or based on what you've been telling me, we connect to it. I am the sun. Okay. So if the sun been standing and people been dying under the sun, maybe they broke the law.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Ain't real.
Dying is a part of the figment of your reality.
No. That's a cop out, y'all.
We did this already.
Listen.
Hold on. Based on what y'all said, you guys have to take accountability for what y'all say on this platform and be congruent. All right, y'all said, all right, this is raw words. Y'all said, "I am the sun," right?
Right.
I am the sun. The sun, by natural law, has come up and risen in the sky every single day for as long as humans have existence. It has not altered its course. It has not done its job. It hadn't died. It hasn't gotten sick. Wait, I'm just saying, based on what y'all saying, I have all the capabilities of the sun.
Shire, what form is the sun in?
Exactly.
It's not about that. No, it's all energy. It's all energy.
You have to listen. I'm asking you.
You earlier you said I'm not a physical being.
Because you have to know the medium. Listen. I'm about to explain the depends. It all depends on the medium that the energy or the consciousness is using to express itself.
Nashaya, is
everything one or not?
Wait, real quick. Is there?
No, yes or no? I need to hear you guys say it. You're gonna say everything's one or it's not, because you guys are being dualistic.
No, you're not. You're not listening. Is there trees that last longer than humans?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they obey the law.
Trees obey what law?
The law that they were put here to uphold.
So what, you saw a tree like literally obey the law?
Yeah, it was there. It was there doing its thing.
What did you see that showed the tree obeying the law?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
what is a tree that obeys the law look like?
Right.
Well, in reality, right now, all
Don't
those mountains.
Huh?
No, I'm giving you like real. I'm not gonna like get weird on you, but all these mountains and these hills, you know, all right. Before people cut them down, that's what trees were. They were these huge expanses, you know, that were created
So they're natural.
to aid and promote life in the environment.
Thank you. So their natural formula is to do what trees do, right?
Right.
The natural formula for humans is to do what humans do.
Which doesn't include death, and we've had this conversation 1,000 times.
The Shire.
We
Do
just
trees
said,
die?
Bro, we know what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about.
we've done this before.
The Shire, do trees die? This nigga's crazy. Do trees die? Yes or no? Because you just now said that trees obey the law, but now we finna get into some dying shit. So do they die or no?
Yeah.
Thank you. So do they go against the law to die or not?
See,
come on.
Like, I know why you're asking me this question. It's just like
because according to
what happens to the trees? If you're just acting, you're acting like trees. No, it's not fair for you. You're anthropomorphizing a tree, which I know we're already doing, but you're acting like trees just fall down dead, like all of a sudden because of like humans do.
The Shire.
That's not what happens.
I'm asking you a question. Do trees die or no?
Everything can die.
The Shire. So do trees obey the law or no?
Yeah.
So even though they obey the law, they still going to die.
Anything can die.
Wait. So if anything can die, can the sun die?
It already did.
What?
Come on, bro.
I see
y'all taking it there. Y'all taking it there, so I gotta get spooky.
All right, we're gonna go to the next chapter, man. What we doing?
Yeah. We gotta slide from there because he's out of pocket right now.
This nigga the Shine. Hey, I'm fucking with the Shine though, because he don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Hey, but the Shine, hey, look, I be focused like a motherfucker, right? I stay in this bag. It's not my bag isn't going to change. So, yeah. But we're going to change the subject though.
It's all
So what we got up next? So we got we did the paganism shit.
Desensitization, gentrification.
When I was probably about maybe it's been longer than that. Maybe 5 years ago, one of the cats who I used to build with, he was an older cat, and he's from East Oakland, and we used to build up about a lot of shit. And at this point in time, I was still digging, trying to figure out what's what, and I was going through the Illuminati rabbit hole and all the shit. And then just thinking about, Illuminati, then, people associate that with how the government's work and shit like that. So desensitization was a part of the natural conversation. Like, when we see the news or the media putting out, certain images, like, all the deaths that came about, and things like that, and put it out there for people. I forgot who the cat was, young cat, when it left his body out there for the public to see. Even the news covered the shit, and he was out there for hella long. And it's just like, okay, well, what's the purpose of having that out there? And then it was just like, we were just talking about the desensitization to where we should naturally. This is one perspective. I'm gonna just say that. I have to say that part. That we should naturally, ultimately, not give a fuck. Like, we should look at that body that's been laying out on the ground for multiple hours, and we just like, okay, it is what it is type shit. And I think that that's what people associate desensitization with, but just saying it is what it is. And to a certain degree, I think that that's true though. Like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of funny to say that because a lot of times, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna pass the mic just to, but I think that when it comes down to uh the government, right? And we have to break down what the government means. Govern means to control, and mint means mind. So control of the mind, right? So when we're talking about that aspect of the government and the news being the media that pumps this information out to us, um, the level of saying, well, it is what it is, it can be it can be deemed as either good or bad. And I think that sometimes we don't need to attach ourselves to certain things, right? Because I know that, and I've seen that naturally, that if we attach our things to certain things, then that's how they get us. Like, you know what I mean? And the news knows this, and the media knows this, and the government knows this. So I don't even care about talking about it openly, right? This is not this is not private information. They put it out there so people know. Like, you know what I mean? So when people be scared, you should talk. I don't give a fuck about talking about anything because it's out there. That's why I'm talking about it, right? So when it comes down to the level of saying that, okay, well, the we shouldn't be, so connected to that. It's just like, okay, well, are you insinuating that we shouldn't value a young black life or old black life, or just life in general? And that's what certain people have the concept of when we talk about desensitization. So it's just like, how do we process the images or the situations that play out? What, like, how are we supposed to receive that? And going back to you, Nishai, I think that's when the accountability aspect really kicks in, because it's just like, well, what do we do when these things happen, right? Should we protest? Should we march? Should we say fuck the police? Should we do this? Should we do that? And all of these different ideas are birthed based on the situations that happen. But it's just like, ultimately, what should we do? And I think that that's the government's objective, is to say, well, what are you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? So, and this is why I say, like, is desensitization a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Like, you know what I mean?
I think it's I think it's a good thing if you have the ability to respond. If you haven't cultivated the ability to respond when absolutely necessary, then that's a bad thing, because you won't know that there's a problem.
Mm, that's deep. So when you say, oh damn, you took it there. So when you say respond, um, uh, given the situations that I just now said, do you think that people think that there's a certain way that you should respond?
I mean, there's probably a great many debates on like what should the response be, but ultimately, I believe that because of the situation that we have here, like in the United States, mostly what we're encountering is a physical threat that we are not equipped, to actually deal with in the reality, in the way that they are using this force, quote unquote, against us. We don't got no missiles, we don't got no drones, we don't have legions, of people, and that all goes into what you mentioned, the government. That's the mentality of the government, to have this forceful apparatus to control the people, and so I often find it like very, very hypocritical how even the justice system kind of does work, because if you become violent with a person, it's looked at as a crime. But if the government, if you're in the courtroom and and they use violence against you, they look at it as their right or even their duty. And so there's all these things that come into play when you're witnessing tragedy, and trauma, because it's a trauma, on anyone who witnesses that, in my opinion. It doesn't matter your race or your
I agree.
and so if you haven't been trained, and I was actually listening to this military guy. He says in the SEALs, what they do is they give you a skill, then they add complexity to that skill, then they add exhaustion to that, to that set. Then they start throwing all these other things, and you start to do the skill, and then they keep you up for days. They don't feed you, and they stress you out. But the whole thing is the point is for you to be able to do this skill no matter what the stressor or the response is. And then also what he said was to be able to turn it off when the whatever is done.
Definitely. That's damn. I did not know that. That's deep. Yeah. So it's just like, again for me, excuse me. Again for me, it's just like when it comes down to that, it's just like when I see certain people, right? Like say, like, okay, let's put it in this type of situation. If we know that naturally the human response is going to be emotional first and then critical thinking or consciousness later, then it's just like if I can get you emotionally disturbed, then I got you. Like, you know what I mean? And this is how a lot of wars are won, right? Even when it comes down to relationships, it's just like I know this nigga's triggers. Like, you know what I mean? I know what I can do or say to put you in a place to where I can control this whole situation. I think a lot of people take advantage of that for the people who don't have emotional intelligence and shit, right? So when it comes down to that, it's just like, okay, well, if I'm putting myself, if I've been through enough relationship situations, and I think this is what happens with relationships. I think that when you go through so many different bad situations, you learn what you don't want, you learn what you want, you learn what's bullshit, you learn what's real, you learn all these different things, right? So then ultimately, to the bullshit, it's just like, nah, nigga, I'm not even tapped in with. I don't even subject myself to that type of energy. So I'm not even sensitive to that. So my desensitization is up on that type of time because I've already seen it enough, right? So it's just like you can't trap me within those confinements of that prison because I'm already numb to the bullshit. Let's just say that. People be like, well, I'm numb to that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm numb to the bullshit. Like, I don't even give a fuck about that. I have no feelings towards that because I've already been through it enough to where just like I get it already. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just a level of understanding what certain things is and how they come to be. And this is where the acceptance comes in at. Like, you know what I mean? For the desensitization, it's just like it's not that I'm cutting shit off. It's just that I accept it and I'm actually receiving it and bringing it in. If I cut it off, then I'm still ignorant to what's going on. But if I accept it, then it's just like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? So then it becomes okay, well, how do I want to approach this energy? Right. So when it comes down to that, it's just like, yeah, well, I'm not no longer sensitive to that. I understand, I get it. And I think that sometimes in certain situations that the government is, I want to say, damn near forcing people to have that level of understanding, right? We're gonna do some fucked up shit till you get it. And for the people who don't have the know-how or the will to create their own reality, then that's why we're the government. That's why we have the control of the mind to let you know where to go to. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that when it comes down to that aspect, it's just like, okay, well, what again, I think that the government always says, what are you going to do?
Right.
And I
I'm
think
over
that,
here eating and shit, but yeah, I'm
oh no,
listening.
you're good. I think that the desensitization, and I'm not saying that 100% that this is what it is, because it could be two parts of that, but I think that the government ultimately shovel shit in your yard to say, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you know what I mean? So if you're like, man, I already know what y'all got popping, you're not gonna respond in a emotional type of way because you already know. So the knowing aspect is gonna allow you to make your moves based on the situation that's popping. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that you're not as sensitive to certain situations. I'm gonna pass the mic by saying that.
Also, a lot of this things, I think people, a lot of this has to do with what people choose to be plugged into and tapped into. Because a lot of this stuff that be happening, like, I'm pretty much only aware of it probably through social media, not the actual news, not, and even when I do see it, it's not really a part of my frame, like my real priority to focus. But a lot of what will happen is like the government is testing to see where the people are at. And all I can give is I was doing like those Obama phones a while ago, and I was
Yep.
over in Del Paso Heights. And I was at this little spot on this corner, and some dude pulled up in an SUV, and he said, "Hey, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Nashaya," and he's like, "Where you from?" I was like, "Earth," And he says, "Well, my name is written down right there." He said, "You said you're in my spot." I said, "I don't see your name. It says written right here." And then I said, "Where?" But then we just met eye to eye. It's like, I don't fuck with you,
Right.
And so like it was really he just testing. I don't know exactly what his test was for me, but a lot of it is a test to see if the people respond or if the programming that they have everyone on is actually working, because
Right.
depending on what people are plugged into, like I said, that's the programming that they're receiving and they're consuming.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's a fact. You're gonna put up with what the government is holding out for you. I mean, we the one that chose to put the government in a place. You know what I mean? Anyway,
From the gate.
so
I mean, every day people want to
it
continue
becomes
using dollars. That's all people
that's
gotta
what I'm
do.
saying. So it's like,
Stop using those dollars, then the government will pay attention.
and then if they don't like something that the government do, they'll protest and shit. But that shit really don't do nothing. So
I feel
unless
like that's the government doesn't protest things.
what you say?
And when you go to the lengths that your enemy will, you will lose every battle.
Oh, right, exactly. And we not as the people, they're not willing to go them lengths.
Right.
Like, at least not all at once. It'd be like one of us, maybe one of us or a little group of us, will get woken up, but they've ahead of the game, mentally, financially, and even spiritually in a lot of ways. The people are over this thing, their religion is the government, and
Facts.
Yeah,
and like kind of like just having a different belief set. I had to understand it like that. Okay, this is what they believe. They believe in the government. They believe in the United States. They believe in it, and that is what is giving it its force and power. And so, until we can believe in ourselves as a group of divine beings, we will continue to be governed.
exactly. And that's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, and that That right there pretty much covers desensitization
That's a fact.
in a nutshell.
So what
I mean,
what y'all think? What y'all think about gentrification though?
I'm looking. It's like all these Asians at the end.
Hey,
Like
that should just mean it's in motion.
right.
It's active.
Um, you can't look at none of these as good or bad. Like it all comes down uh, to the people at the end of the day. Like gentrification is similar to desensitization in the sense that it's governed by the government as far as deciding where we finna, move a group of people out of an area and build it up and do that whole, you know what I mean, that whole thing. So, and then it's affecting a group of people, keeping them, you could say, in a certain bracket because it's pushing them more outwards of the city where you make most of the money. So it's like a setup type of thing, and as long as the people continue to, in a sense, go along with it, then it is what it is.
Right.
I mean, in a sense, because just to just not to backtrack about desensitization and what can be done, but like just my personal opinion is that you can opt out, of most of what's going on. But as far as gentrification, it's a similar thing to what people will call colonization,
Woo.
and it's just bringing a different culture and and different groups of people do this, not I wouldn't even necessarily put it on, the government. I mean, the so-called Jewish people, hope I don't get y'all canceled, some people would
No,
view
you
what
good.
they did over in Israel, as gentrification. Excuse me, YouTube. That's just some people's opinions. That
Yeah.
those people came and brought a culture and economics that wasn't original to that region. Some people feel like that, and so it's um it's one of those words where it's like its mechanical meaning has a lot of moral, and social implications tied to it, but essentially it's just a takeover. It's a hostile takeover or acquisition of an area, or or it could be even a people or a culture.
Yeah. See, and I I can't not agree with that for real. Like, you know what I mean? But I guess on the flip side of that token, it's just like, if we have specific spots, like say for instance, like, you get um a shop that's not really tripping about people that's out trapping in front of that spot, or they doing whatever, or this is a hot spot for crime or whatever that's going on within our communities. It's just like, well, if we're not changing it, per se, then they're coming in and they be like, oh, this is a hot spot for crime. Well, let me clean this shit up. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of this being a liquor store, let's put a fucking Starbucks right here. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, who do you know that's really trapping for real on some hood shit in front of a Starbucks? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, nah. It
It's
changes.
Starbucks closing down. That's what it is. If that started happening, Starbucks closed that location.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's just like the energy that comes with the new things that are ushered in, it may trigger a new thought pattern that may say, you want to know what? Well, we can't trap in front of here. So what? Again, my thing is, what are we going to do? Like, you know what I mean? So what's going to be the new thing to do? Like, you know what I
Let me
mean?
ask you this: is it gentrification when a rapper comes back to his hood and buys up everything and
Right,
fixes it up and like puts in some like? Is that still considered gentrification? It's still the whole same process and operation.
Yeah, see, and that's a great question. Like, because when you think about it on that type of time, uh, certain rappers invest in those properties or in that block or on that building, right? So when it comes down to that, they're going to make sure that their investment is protected,
Right.
right? So with that being stated, it's just like y'all can't do what y'all used to do in front of this motherfucker. Like nigga,
Right.
like not to say, you know what I mean? Not to say that me personally, I'm gonna call the police, but it's just like I have to protect my investment. So think about if you got if you washed your money and you got a legitimate business and you got motherfuckers that's out there still trying to, gang bang in front of your shit or sell dope in front of your shit, they're making your spot hot. They're
Right.
bringing unnecessary attention to your business. Like, you know what I mean? So just like, no, nigga, y'all can't do that over here. And this is and I'm glad you asked that because this is my ideology of what they're saying about the gentrification. You can't do that here. You have to come up with a new idea to communicate with this energy. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's just like now, if you got like a different business that may say, just like what I'm doing right now with my books and shit, like my nigga, you can't sell dope in front of I can't have you sell dope in front of my establishment.
Right.
If you got some books, come pull up. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, like nigga, switch your hustle. So it's just like it's ultimately, and this is what I'm saying. This is one perspective, and I'm just giving the opposite end of what gentrification may look like. It's just like nigga, you can no longer be out here on some crazy shit. It's gonna jeopardize my business or my freedom and your freedom. And my whole purpose of putting this establishment right here was to elevate and alleviate everybody from not being free.
See,
so it's just like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was on that right there, because as you're speaking right now about what gentrification looks like, that is one way, that is one side of gentrification, how people would view it. But I think I'm in a unique position to also say that these tents and these tent cities and these tent neighborhoods that are popping up on the sidewalks and different businesses thing, that is like almost the equal and opposite reaction to gentrification.
Oh, that's a fact.
Because like you got all kinds, and it's kind of crazy because maybe the business owner are not connected to the community where these tents are all popping up. They don't even live there; they just do business there, and so it's like they can't even have a conversation with this dude outside because it's like. And even just going back to the people who might have been like selling drugs or just whatever, getting down, gang banging, it's like they don't have another way,
right?
A lot of times, or they don't know a way, or don't have the ability to respond, like we were talking about earlier. And so it's like these words, like we be talking about, on this podcast a lot. They are charged with a lot of energy, already. And when you kind of just start to strip it away, it does get back to how we just saying like it is kind of all the same stuff,
Definitely.
It's all the same stuff.
Nah, that's a good point that you bring up. In terms of that, in terms of the tent cities, because it's just like, because even in in non-gentrificated areas, they don't want a quote unquote tent city or certain people like that. But it's just like, well, do y'all actually go into these communities and see what the survival tactic is? Fuck,
Right.
everything else that's outside of that. Do y'all see that a lot of these people really don't bother nobody for real? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I think that if it's going to be on that type of time, I think that should be accepted. There may have to be a certain set of understanding that may turn into rules, that may turn into laws that's accepted by both parties, right? But in terms of what's really going on behind the scenes, it's just like, okay, well, what does that look like for real? And I think that conversation needs to be had for real. But in terms of just, just trying to eradicate that shit, it's just like, nigga, living like everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you're not doing any harm to the community or to the businesses that's around the community. Like, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is the type of stuff they be talking about in the city hall, and only what I believe is gonna happen, and even just with these tent cities and this stuff popping up, people are, this what you're talking about is people are desensitized to the human nature of these individuals, which is a
Gotcha.
lot
Okay, yeah.
like why I'm on my mission that I'm on, living how I'm living. And so when they come and do something to these people, like because the government only knows force, that's all it knows.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna force the issue once the people are desensitized and also fed up, enough with the thing to accept whatever horrible, I don't want to get on conspiracy, there's FEMA camp. But this type of things, and what governors and stuff do right now is they'll like bust people out. They're like, "Oh, you want to go somewhere?" Little stuff like that happening. But eventually, people gonna be disappearing, and a lot of these people out here on the street, and honestly, even just living in regular life, we lost an infinity, as to each other, and it's very easy for someone in this day and age drop off the grid, and no one even know for a little while. No one even think to like, oh, this person, we haven't heard from them in such and such time. With technology, it gives us access to be doing like a billion trillion different things, and focusing on prioritizing individuals becomes difficult.
Yeah, nah, that's a good point that you made. Damn, that was dope. I have to agree with that for real, because it's just like, me personally, right? In terms of where I be at, when I be driving trucks and shit, like there's some cities that I go to, and there would be a whole block, if not 2 blocks, if not 3 blocks, that have tent cities and shit. And it's just like certain drivers, I'm gonna say it like that. Certain drivers be like, man, you can't go down that street and woody wah because all the things is down there. But I've been to cities that I've never been to before, and I have to go down those blocks in order to do what I do. But I feel safe mobbing through those 10 cities, like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like honestly, like I see, like, you know what I mean, how people are living, like, their whole life is in those spaces, like, you know what I mean? So me personally, I would never be not understanding or desensitized to their conditions, right? I would never be say like, oh, well, they just I mean, but a certain part of me say, well, they just living, like, you know what I mean? So I'm desensitized to saying, well, they don't, they're not living in a quote unquote society, but my ideal is they're just living, like, you know what I mean? So I'm not counting them out in a desensitized type of way, but certain people may look at them like, hey, they're not even a part of society for real, like, you know what I mean? So that's why I love this conversation, because I think that some of the times that people, are quick to write shit off before even understanding what's going on, and that's
exactly
the desensitization. It's just like, well, before you came to that conclusion of being desensitized, like, did you even tap in to see what it was? And even if you do, just like me personally, even though I know that certain transients, I'm gonna say that word, transients are not they don't care about what they don't care about doing whatever. Is that gonna stop me from, if somebody asks me for money, I'll be like, nah, I got you. Or if I see somebody that may need some clothes, I'm not gonna not do that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck what the scenarios may be or whatever it is. It's just like, if I got it, I'm gonna give it. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's just like I'm desensitized to what society may say that these motherfuckers do on the slide. I don't care
Right.
about what y'all say that they do. I'ma still, give. So it just, it just depends on how people, gaze their shit. That's what I'm saying. This is the kind of dope conversation from me because I like both ends of how it's beneficial to all parties. You know what I mean?
God is good all the time. All
All
the
time,
time.
that's good. All time.
Right.
But
That's
do you
that
have to
both
know that?
sides right there.
Do you have to know that for it to be true?
You gotta know that. What you talking about? What Selfmade just now said?
For it to be true?
Well, yeah. I
You
said
gotta
you have
know
to
it
know
for
that
it to be
for it to
true,
be
for
true.
sure. Facts.
If they
Yeah.
don't, what else? Like,
If you
it's gonna be
believe it, if you believe it, then you're gonna start crying every other day.
yeah.
Oh
When
man,
you get
and he's
a
so good to
lesson.
me.
I'll say that.
It's so good to me, y'all. It's all free. I
Yeah,
be
you gotta
telling y'all.
do it.
Hey, so that kind of swings. I heard you say something about your organization. What's that about?
Oh shit, I
What?
forgot that. Hey, real quick, cause I really want to get into depth about that, and I don't want to miss it. But I've been drinking water and Bel Air, so I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. But I want to hear about that for sure.
Yeah.
When did
So
I mention that?
You were saying something about you just said something and then you was like or you said what I'm trying to do with my organization or
Oh, I
something.
said mission. I said it on my mission.
Okay. I'm thinking it
Well,
was like
honestly, well, to segue and then we can get into it when Woon comes back. But like basically just give like a little introduction. It actually has a lot to do with like interacting on this show, with y'all and different individuals that have come on, just like my everyday experiences, my experiences from like when I was going online, like going live, more often and things like that. It came to me just like well, it didn't even just come to me to like embrace it, but I'm always looking for like a better way to be able to communicate what I know, because
right.
I feel it's my duty, and that's how I'm trying to help others is by communicating what I know through my experience, and so a lot of like my lifestyle is very monastic like in the sense that I've set myself apart to service to the creator only, to have like a contemplative life or a conscious life, so to speak, because much of life people live is unconscious and they're just in survival, and just going through the motion, and to also be able to share that life with others. And so I'm not exactly like what people would see as a traditional quote unquote monk. Usually monks live in monasteries. They're far off. They're removed from society. But I have a great interest in monastic life, even though I'm living amongst people in the city and everything like that. And so I was doing some Google searching and about monks. And when you type into Google, even though you get your search terms, it tells you like other questions people asked, that are along the same lines. And so it came to this point where it says, what's the difference between a monk and a mendicant?
what is
And
that?
so
Oh
a
no,
mendicant,
I think I looked up the but for the people who don't know, go ahead and break that down. My bad.
so a mendicant is essentially the same thing as a monk, except they don't live separated from society. They live inside society
And
and
exactly.
amongst the people in cities. And another qualifier for a mendicant, but really any religious order, they all survive off generosity of others, And so
Yeah.
a mendicant exclusively or almost solely survives off of generosity or alms or donation. And it was kind of like a blessing to me to like find this word. And I was discussing with Nakama. It's like they tried, people maybe not know my whole like personal situation episode to episode, but I was in an entanglement with the government based on my lifestyle. And then, now after all these years and experience, I come to find out that there was a word that has a wiki, attached to it, and a whole long tradition and history attached to my lifestyle. And if I would have had this word, to give to them, then they wouldn't have been able to say I'm crazy, or this is made up, or this is brand new,
Right.
and so it's kind of just like a evolution, I guess, really here, and not into something else, but into a higher and stronger form, and a more rooted form. And so people have many times, I think on this show, probably maybe, and just throughout this travels, have called me a beggar, so to speak. And I've been like very, very resistant, to that term, just because it has such a negative connotation to it, and
Right.
and also I see. I don't want to. Well, I boast in the Lord is what I say. Will say, as to not, have some type of egoic pride, because I don't live like this, to stand, over people, or anything like that. I live how I'm living to show people that they can stand up to, and so, over the last couple of weeks, I had some spirit journeys, if anyone, if people can understand, and just a lot of ideas were coming forward, and it came to me about the image, which we speak about, on this show, quite often, and that is my aim and goal, is to be the image. And image was an acronym. It stands for the image of the Most High's authority and glory on earth. IMAGE, and that's what we all be, and it ties into us living consciously and calling things to ourselves with our words, and even just our thoughts,
Right.
even just our thoughts, and retaining that focus, and or what people will call faith, because that's all faith is a focus, to like simplify it for people.
Nice.
If you could
Yeah.
focus on, if your mind can see it, you could achieve it. But not if your mind keep looking at different stuff all the time, then you're not gonna, have no progress. And so, the image is a mendicant order. It's the order of people who've decided to live exclusively off blessings and the creation, so to speak. Because in having conversations, with people around me, ultimately, what I believe is God created all of you to help me. And so I have this expectation when I go out, for whatever it be for. Today, we need to get propane, So I have this expectation when I go out with the propane tank, and, my ukulele and the whiteboards, or whatever art piece, or whatever we're deciding, to fly that day. I have this expectation that it's going to come, and I don't even have to. I personally don't even have to speak at this point, because it's been cultivated to such a high level, and that is the gift I truly want for people. And it's not necessarily because, Krishna asked me a couple shows ago, do I believe that someone has to be a Christian, in order to be saved, or I forget what the exact question was. And my answer is there's a way that we were meant to live. And I believe that way has been hijacked and co-opted by, they have this word called they. We don't
Okay.
know exactly who it is. They is us. It's
Nice.
us. You know, because all I can understand, for me, my personal experience is, it's a choice. It's literally a choice, and I'm choosing to not participate in anything that's not a gift from God. And that's what all of you guys are. I'm so thankful for all the people that I interact with, no matter what or how our interaction is, because that was a gift from the creator. And that's the expectation that I hope I can transfer over to others. Because ultimately, I think the show has a lot to do about alleviating the mental anguish, that a lot of people
Right.
may be dealing with due to lack of understanding or direction or purpose,
Right.
but when you take back your power, whether it is, because look, before Jesus was a man, it was a consciousness. I'm gonna put that out there, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Let's
so,
talk about
you
it.
know, there's a consciousness that we're being blocked off from, you know, and I'm just trying to display that. Not everyone's gonna look like mine. Not everyone, you know, and it's my hopes in order that, you know, I can put people through a form of radical discipleship to increase their faith. You know, and
See,
to,
when you talk about radical discipleship, right? In my mind, because I'm naturally a revolutionary, right? So when you talk about things like that, it's just like, well, while y'all doing this, I'm gonna do this, right? And it's just like, what?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, I'm gonna explain. So it's just like, if you feel like you have to do one thing in order, you know, the mass, if you have to deal with what the mass is doing in order to uh either survive or be who you are, then you know, then that's your bag. But I'm naturally I'm a hardhead. I don't care about none of that shit, right? So I'm saying that's anything that anybody else is doing, and I hate to say it like that, but if I feel like the set of rules don't go by what I feel personally on my journey, then I don't give a fuck about it, and I'm a rebel against that naturally. I don't give a fuck what it is, and that's just who I am. Like, you know what I mean? So when you say that on that type of time, it's just like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to embody what you're saying real quick. If y'all feel like y'all got to work in order to gain a certain level of material happiness or physical happiness or mental happiness or nothing like that, or anything like that, then it's just like, I don't need to do that. I can do this without doing that, right? And so that's where I agree with you with, when it's just like, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I do, anything that I do, I can bring this shit into fruition because I am a fucking master of this energy. I can manipulate energy however the fuck I want to do it. Watch this magic, right? So when you get into that bag, it's just like, what does it look like, right? The one thing that I won't do is say that, like, you know, that I won't there is no hierarchy in that energy, right? In real time right now, I put out a book, right? That's my magic. I put out a book. I brought something from my mind or from what I think that should be real in my reality to whatever. Boom. The fruition of that is the people realizing that or bringing my reality into life. I already did it. It's already done. But the people are a part of my reality and making my reality real. Right?
Right.
So when it comes down to that type of energy, it's just like, okay, well, it's an even relationship between the creator and the participator or even the observer, because they're participating in the world that I created, right? So
Right.
this is why my I am shit always has these three energies: the creator, the observer, and the participator, because they all feed each other. They're all always one thing operating from different aspects, but they all make each other work. So when it comes down to that, it's just like, again, today, you know, I had so many different people support and tap in and bring my shit into reality. And just like, can I say that, okay, well, I'm above you motherfuckers because I put out a book and you niggas didn't? No, I would never say that, because my book makes no sense to people who are never going to read it. Like, it only makes sense because people are going to read it. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So the relationship becomes, okay, well, I'm only as good as my readers. I am my readers. So this is why I created the space for this, for we are the I am, because it's not like I'm saying that I'm above and niggas is not. There's so many different people who tap in with me and say, "Hey, I wrote a children's book too. Do you and do you have any pointers on how I can bring my shit into fruition?" Do you think that I said, "Hey, well, you got to figure this shit out on your own or not?" It's just like, no, I'm gonna give you all the information to do it. In the beginning of this show, one of the partners who I went to school with and grew up with, he asked me straight up, and this was nothing to have to do with the show, about truck driving and where he should go to. I could have been like, "Hey, you got to figure it out?" No, I'm gonna give you the information because you're no different from me saying that that Woon, you probably got the answers, so I got the questions. What is having the answers without motherfuckers with the questions? So the relationship is always going to be on a reciprocal type of thing, and I think that sometimes we no disrespect, but I think that sometimes we get into our egos to where it's just like I got the answers and you don't. Like, you know what I mean? And this is what I was trying to tell you earlier. I'm probably going to agree with the aspect or the angle that you're saying, right? And I'm meaning that I'm not trying to shit on your perspective or your angle of light. I'm not going to do that. But it's just I'm trying to see how far is it that you're stamped in on what you're trying to tell me. Do you really understand what you're saying, or do you just believe it? Right. So now, when it comes down to the level of society, and going back to the desensitization, it's just like, are you so desensitized that what you believe is no longer prevalent, or what you know about these situations is still gonna make sense because you're not just you're not just desensitized from your belief, because beliefs could go and come like the fucking wind. What you know is stamped. What you 10 toes, what you know is 10 toes down. So it's just like I'm not going to not, just like I said earlier, I'm not going to not give people who's chosen to use a specific lifestyle. I'm not going to say, okay, well, this motherfucker's a transient, so I'm not gonna fuck with him. No, I'm gonna do that shit. Why? Because transients can also give me that same information or that same thing, depending on what my level of acceptance or reality is, right? So when it comes down to that, it's just like, okay, well, what does it look like for real? And can we learn from anybody or anything? And my answer would be yes. Why? Because we are, again, the spitting image of what this Godhead is. So it's just like, how can I shit on you when you are me? Right? You may have a different understanding and perspective than what I got, but that don't mean that I'm higher than you or lower than you. That just means you have a different. I want to embody what the fuck you know. Nashaya may have information that I don't know about not working in the quote unquote system, right? Your girl, or whoever that is, that may be whoever, your sister, cousin, whoever, was knitting a whole fucking shit last time we was on, right? So it's just like, nigga, and she didn't miss a beat. So it's just like, I don't know how to do that shit. So I'm gonna pull up on the Shia. My shit is, hey, what do y'all what is that about? How do I do that? I know it's a pattern. I get it. I know that you got to do a certain thing. I understand the science behind it. What's the math behind it?
Yeah, ain't no higher or lower.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. So I think that sometimes when we put ourselves in a certain position, and I have to say this part, sometimes the ego wants us to say this shit to make our reality more prevalent so that we can accept who and what we are. I'm gonna say that again. The ego comes in and says, nigga, you are this motherfucker, and that allows you to accept the choices that you make. But we have to understand that the spirit is what guides it. So sometimes we say, "Hey, I'm more than." Sometimes we say, "Hey, I'm less than," but the spirit has already decided that I'm doing this.
It is already.
Fact. So again, when it comes down to certain energy, it's just like we have to understand that, like all on one accord, all on the same thing, all on this consciousness is just like, hey, I'm desensitized to the ego that's associated or synonymous with this ideology, but I'm super tapped into, and I will never let go of, or I will never be non-sensitive to the spiritual happening or the spiritual ism. The ism, just like Self just now said, it is what it is. The ism that it is, you cannot escape that.
So wait, is that a part of what you were saying? Like your mission was or organization was? Because you said something about incorporating, like the people on the show in something, but I don't know exactly what it was that you was talking about. I
Oh,
might have
just people
missed
on the
it.
show have used this particular word, beggar,
Oh.
which is what the word mendicant essentially means, in Latin and in
Now I'm
English.
more so talking about in reference to because I could have swore you said, or were you describing your mission? Is that what you were doing? Because we got on that topic. I was like, "What's the organization?" You was like, "I didn't never said organization. I had said my mission."
Oh,
And then you
yeah.
was like, "Wait, let me wait for Woon to get back." And then I didn't know because you were already talking, so I didn't know. You know.
Oh, yeah. It was all one and the same. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing is like it's an evolution, but it's just more of a stronger stance, you know, like almost a doubling down, like a deeper rooting of myself into the position, and accepting, whatever connotation comes with it.
Right. Okay. Um. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why I was thinking organization like it was gonna be a collective, like you and a group of people.
Oh, it is. It is,
Oh, it is.
and but because Nakama, my wife, was actually, asking me. She's like, "Is it an order with two people? You have an order with one." I am, an organization, and that's essentially, what I'm living through. We all are in certain, facets, whether that's conscious or not. But you know, the organization, it's my duty as a follower of Christ to make disciples. A disciple is just someone who's disciplined. A disciple of Christ is someone who's just disciplined in a particular consciousness, and that consciousness is all things are given to you through the power of the word. Which people are living. That's a natural law in existence, but people are unconscious of it, or they are not in control, of their words, or of their thoughts. And like I said, I feel like this platform does a lot of dealing with the mental anguish that comes from that unconsciousness or a lack of control of those words.
Yeah, nah, dude, that's shit. Absolutely
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. When it comes to the podcast, for sure,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think that just to expound on Self's question, um, with that, and damn, I forgot the word that you is it mendicant? Mendicant?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, mendicant. Okay. So again, I think when you had mentioned that, I kind of looked it up, and just freestyling right now, just anything that sometimes is mended, it just means to come together, right? And then I was looking at that, I'm like, okay, so it's just like, well, what are we talking about for real? And again, I think that you have a good thing going, But me personally, I was just trying to find out, kind of like what's the basis uh of the objective, I guess I want to say.
Yeah, like what do you guys do?
Because I know that you had put out a scripture, and I'm just going to what you put on on your post and shit. And I know that you had put out a scripture, uh, and it was saying to sell your possessions in order to. And I'm paraphrasing right now, so don't chop me for fucking shit up.
Yeah, but
But it was saying, I think your post said something like the scripture said that you have to sell your possessions in order to come into this Christ understanding or something like that, or coming to or going to heaven, or it was something like that. Like again, I'm paraphrasing, but so I want to know, uh, is that scripture the basis of, or is that ultimately, is that a selling point to what you're trying to say, or is that uh something that you would teach to people? And if it is, do you think that scripture is a literal scripture, meaning that you have to give away all your worldly possessions in order to enter into this heavenly ordeal or space?
it's an initial principle of entrance, because when we hoard anything or we hold on to like things too tightly, the energy we're sending off to the universe is one of lack, or scarcity, because that is why people tend to hold on to things, or people or
Let me say this real
situations.
quick, and I'm gonna let you go.
But
This is my understanding of the desensitization, because ultimately you have to let go of certain shit. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's all good. But I would say it's an initial step into entering your diminutive life, or the life of dominion that you're supposed to have. Because when you are able to dominate existence, what we're created to do, you don't have to hold on to anything, and really nothing can hold on to you. When you're operating like that, the only thing you could do is start carrying more than you really need to, and it's slow you down. Or, if I mean, I don't think we can't drag each other down. I don't believe in that. All you can do
Now,
is you can condescend to someone's estate, and that's your choice.
now,
you
when
know
you say it can hold you down, it kind of reminds me of um the Erica Badu song "The Bag Lady," to where it's just like you hold on to all these different things, and you gonna miss your bus. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all the different things that you may be holding on to. And of course, we understand that she's not talking about physical things. And this is what I'm
Right.
asking you, right? So we understand that we're not literally talking about physical possessions, right? And I'm not saying yours, but in her analogy, she's saying, like, you can't hold on to anything, the energy, the spiritual, the whatever, because when you try to hold on to those certain things, then you're not going to be able to enter into the kingdom's heaven, right? And this is similar for the people who know. This is similar to saying, like, your heart has to be as light as a feather on some what's that, the Kemet shit, right? So it's just like, okay, well, if you're still saying this shit is weighing heavy on me, or things like that, and you got so much shit to where it's just like, well, I can't do this, can't do that, but it's just like they're telling you your heart has to be as light as a feather, right? Not to say that you can't have physical things, because this is not a physical conversation. right? The conversation that we're having is spiritual, meaning mental and energy wise. Your energy shouldn't be holding on to none of this shit anyway, because when you put yourself in a participator, when you put yourself into an observer position, then it doesn't hold any weight anyway. You're just looking.
None of this shit yours.
None of this shit don't even matter
I,
anyway.
I get that. I get that totally. I'm glad you brought up energy being in something, and as much as things are on a spiritual level, what I'm dealing with here, what I'll say is on the 3D plane, what we can like feel and touch and see, is people's energy or faith or belief or even knowledge seems to be trapped into the material realm, and we are spirit. And so, because people's energy or focus or faith or whatever people want to call, that, or their time is being spent in the attaining and maintenance and gathering and in some cases hoarding of material, this is why it is an initiation must take on the journey. Now, that's not to say, because obviously I have material, everyone. People will see I'm on material right now. And my the only crux that I would put towards people, or I guess essentially a stumbling block, is the way I've chosen to go about acquiring material restricts me to being in a manner where it's only through the generosity or the free blessing or whatever, people have different words for it, or manifestation, you understand, of my mind, thought, will, prayer, and obedience to that which is source.
I was gonna say attachment.
Say again?
I said I was gonna say attachment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I was going to say. So
anything
to get it is one thing, and also and that's what I was saying, the maintaining of the maintaining is more or less what Self was talking about with the attachment, because it's just like, well, I need to keep this. I need to hold this to myself, right? So just like now I have to attach it to my reality in order to make it do whatever. But I think that that certain things have to happen. The process of things, just so we're clear. The process of things have to happen. So you have to not want it enough to not care about it when you get it. And I think not wanting it enough is going to bring it to you, right? Because just think about, man, I gotta get a Woody Wop. I have to have a such and such. And the drive that you train your mind to doing is that you gotta have it. So now that activates the universe to say, well, he has to have it. Well, now the drive is not about having it. The drive is about having to have it. Right? So now the universe speaks to you and it responds to you saying that you have to have it. So now you're chasing it. And this is why people say the pursuit of happiness, or I'm chasing after the bag. No, nigga. Which is absolutely fine for some people. I'm not trying to down nobody. But the bag is to be the bag. I am the bag. I got the bag.
Yes.
So now the bag. So now naturally the bag comes to me, and I know you can relate to this, Nishai, because you already said that people naturally give you what you want. I am the bag, right? So I don't need to set my mind up to set the universe to give me what I am pursuing. No, nigga. My whole shit is I am, not I'm trying to be. I am.
You got it.
What is that? What does that look like for real? And a lot of people get the energy of saying, I gotta get it. I gotta have it. No, nigga, like that's cool. If it's a game when you already know that you can access it, it becomes a game, and now
Are
you
they
can
content?
create.
You know,
You can create
because you mentioned, people chasing happiness. I would say like that is I feel like shouldn't be people's objective. I feel like
Oh, they do.
people's
They do it
objective
though.
should
Yeah.
be to be content, and it's your contentment that brings you abundance.
Yeah, see, but the contentment comes with the understanding of knowing, right?
Right.
So when you be like,
But see,
man,
then that makes you content at forever being uncomfortable.
facts.
No,
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Because there's
well, you're saying
because you
that
would have the knowledge to know that everything is forever changing, and you would have to evolve with that change.
Evolution. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, right?
but does that mean that you're going to be uncomfortable the whole time?
But if you find comfort in being uncomfortable, they're both one.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You
That's
may have a couple. You may have a couple of moments where you're comfortable. You also go have moments where you're not. Where you're uncomfortable. That's part of the process.
Fact.
You may think that you found a plateau. You got to think when you're comfortable.
I'm not even plugged in.
What you say?
I'll be back.
Yeah, you got to think when you're comfortable for the most. Like think about comfortability on a like people say, oh, this chair is comfortable,
Right.
or this couch or this bed is comfortable, or this sweatshirt is comfortable. These sweats is comfortable. When you think about it like that, it's like you're sitting down for the most part. Like if you're sitting on a couch, like you're comfortable. It's you chilling. There's nothing happening. You chilling. You in a
Right.
nice little furry sweatshirt. For the most part, you're not gonna be out. You comfy. Like I'm comfy. I'm warm. I'm chilling. Like you're not. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
when you think about being comfortable, in a sense, there's stagnancy that comes with that because
Comes
you're
with
not
that.
doing nothing.
Exactly. And see, that's why I like what you said, because it's just like it births the idea of being comfortable in the state of being uncomfortable.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think that people know, I'm gonna say that people know that in order, just like the excuse me, just like the movie what's that shit that you sent me? The everything all what's this shit called?
Oh, everything, everywhere, all at
All at
once.
once. Yeah. In order for them to have a different reality, they had to do some uncomfortable shit. And they put the emphasis on the dude. You know what I'm talking about? When the dude jumped,
Mhm.
he had to. So all of these things are uncomfortable in order to permit a new reality that you may want to exist, but you don't even know that you want to exist it until you're pressured
Exactly.
into that wanting to know or wanting to exist. I'm sorry, experience that existence, right?
Mhm.
So on that type of time of just like people, instead of doing that, they're gonna be like, nah, I'm kind of comfortable where I'm at, but it's just like, nigga, well,
That's your
where's
next step.
where's the growth at? What are you gonna do to make the next shit pop? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just like people don't understand what it is, and it's just like, and I talking to you personally, when we did that Let's Get Educated video, a lot
Mhm.
of people was like, these niggas is in African, you know what I mean? Like, like the get ups and all the shit, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Grass, what I want to say, like grass dresses and shit, whatever I ordered. Um,
Right.
and it was just
Straw.
like, yeah, nigga, like, yeah, it's lit like that. But it's just like it's not about us, it's about the growth and it's about the bigger picture. And the level of comfortability that I have been uncomfortable like that you probably don't even know what that looks like. The niggas who's in the video knows what that looks like because and I again while we're here, I like to commend y'all for that because it was accepted without question.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, nigga, we doing that? It's up. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's just like I think that sometimes people put themselves into certain situations but don't put themselves into others. And there would be like a post like this bitch got a and I'm paraphrasing right now, or I'm just giving a scenario, but this bitch is cool with having the OnlyFans, but she's not cool with public speaking. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's just like her level of comfort is would be considered uncomfortable than a motherfucker, right? But it's just like, what are you really subjecting yourself to when it comes down to your growth? What does that look like? And
You
it's
can't
just
be
like,
stagnant.
yeah, and it's just like, well, I don't want to do that, but I'll do this. But it's just like, well, you already put yourself out there, so where, why won't you, well, like, what does it look like for you? And again, I'm not a judge of what the outcome of that is, but at the end of the day, it's just like, a lot of us are more free than what we think that we are, but the level of choices that we choose to make, what society based would make it seem like we're not free. But if you got an only friends, trust me, you're free than a motherfucker. No cap.
Yeah, that's a fact. I was waiting on the shy. I thought he would say something on that
Oh no,
topic. You back?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that comfortable being uncomfortable. That shit's real, man. That shit's real.
Well, when my phone died and I had a moment to think, I was like, content means you're comforted at all times. So there's no uncomfort. That's uncomfort is like is weakness estimation, at this
Uncomfort?
point, because yeah, it's weakness leaving you if you survive it.
Wait, say that again. You was like choppy.
I think it's leaving you if you survive it.
Did you catch that?
Because if you're
Woon?
uncomfortable,
Your shit's jumping. The bars, they going up and down. But I heard you say something about if you survive it. Like, it's not weakness if you survive it. Is that what you were saying?
if you're uncomfortable, you're not. Yeah. If you're uncomfortable, you're not gonna.
If you're uncomfortable or if you're comfortable, you're not content.
If you're uncomfortable, you're not content.
So you're saying if you're content, you're comfortable at all times.
Yes, you're comforted at all times. You're content.
Do you ever go through uncomfortable situations?
I can't. I have how it ends.
Okay. Have you been
understand
through?
me? But they,
It's kind of choppy. I think I'm getting what you're trying.
No, but there's things that I went through I thought were uncomfortable. uncomfortable at the time, but they actually comfort me now. Do you understand?
Right. So you found comfort in uncomfortability, right?
No, I'm content. I'm accepting and I'm okay with
I'm talking
what
about the words that we're using.
I understand, and I'm trying to give synonyms if possible.
Okay, so we're talking about content and being
Right.
uncomfortable and comfortable. You
Content
said
and
content,
uncomfortable content and uncomfortable are antonyms.
right? Opposites. So content and comfortable are the same thing, right?
Yes.
So ultimately, we can throw the word content away and just use comfortable and uncomfortable because it's the same. We're talking about two opposites.
Right.
So that's what I was saying. We were saying the same thing. If you're saying you've been through uncomfortable situations and now you're comfortable about it, that's what I said as far as you find comfort in being uncomfortable. It's the same. It's comfort. You find contentment in being uncomfortable. You can find that you feel me that comfort once you have the knowledge of. Unless you don't know, then I don't understand what you're talking about. If you don't know everything, how everything is, like everything everywhere all at once, if you don't have that understanding of how things move and grow or evolve, then that would make sense. But if you know, then change, it may be uncomfortable because you're so used to something happening a certain way. So you have to adapt or evolve with that process. But once you know, like, oh, this is a forever process, I'm gonna forever be changing and growing with certain situations and scenarios that I get put in, then you can already have a set mind on like whatever's thrown at me. I'm ready for it. It's good. I'm ready. I'm comfortable in me being ready at all times. If that makes sense.
But what about necessary suffering that people create for themselves?
Unnecessary suffering. Well, you gotta elaborate on that.
Over time,
Anything
you
that's
gain, over time you gain
I'm sorry, go ahead,
experience
my bad.
and knowledge and wisdom about at least your own experience. And it goes back to how I said about touching this source of heat more than once. Even though it's caused you pain.
Is what? A bad way. What are you trying to say? What about it?
Are you saying comfort is when you can touch the fire and it doesn't burn you anymore?
Am I saying, well, if you know you're cooking all the time and you're around fire, I mean, unless you have, you know what I'm saying, 100% type awareness to not touch the fire again, you don't think it's gonna ever happen, or just heat in general? Do you not make mistakes? All you can
Um,
do is touch the fire, right? You can burn yourself once, right? And be like, oh damn, that shit hot. Let me be a little bit more aware of where my arms is at or where my surroundings is so that I don't do that again.
hmm.
Yeah, so when you get to that point, that's why I was saying awareness. Once you have that understanding, you're ready for everything. Oh shit, burn myself. Oh, let me pay a little bit more attention to that. You ready for everything because you know that everything comes with change. I have to adapt. That's change right there. If I'm cooking and I may lose focus because tomorrow I might have the music on when I'm playing music. You know what I'm saying? When I'm cooking. So now I may lose focus, boop, tap the iron or whatever the case is. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think we're saying the same thing. It's just how the way that you're putting it is making it seem like a certain thing.
How could that be?
Because you said you find comfort or you find comfort after going through the uncomfortableness. And all I'm
I wasn't content at those times.
right, what were you?
I was uncomfortable.
Right. And that it you know pushed you to grow or evolve past a certain situation, right?
Can you be content with being uncomfortable?
I'm content with all things.
And then there we go.
The reason why I asked that question, excuse me, because I'm eating right now, but the reason why I asked that question is because the level of uncomfortability is going to spawn a different perspective about the situation that's going to come about, right? So being content is a level of acceptance, right? And that level of acceptance is going to allow you to either stay where you're at or to evolve from where you were at, right? So it's not like it's a good or a bad thing or a right or wrong thing when it comes down to being comfortable, right? But sometimes we have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable in order to move us to a different level of comfortability, if that makes sense.
What about the unnecessary suffering that people create for themselves?
No, yeah, well, when you say unnecessary, right? I think that's
Subjective.
exactly. And I think
It's, it's
that is
evident.
I think that's perspective based because it's either you're uncomfortable or you're comfortable with it, but either way, you're accepting what the reality of that situation is or the feeling that it's giving to you. You're accepting it. So
I give you an example.
it may make you comfortable.
I got some Russian partners, right? And in the wintertime, when I would wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock to go to school, uh, they was homeschooled. They would be waking up at 7 o'clock to jump in this pool, and I'm talking about, I walk outside, the tips of the ice is frozen and all this stuff. So when you talk about suffering, in my mind, I'm like, they tripping. Like, it's way too cold to be jumping in any kind of pool right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Damn near the first layer of the water damn near frozen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nice.
ice still on shit, the whole nine. So I'm looking at them like, these niggas is crazy for real. Their parents is crazy. Whoever making them do that shit is fucking crazy. But then when you talk to them, they like, nigga, yeah, I don't like that shit, but that shit making me ready for anything. I can go jump into a freezing, water, get dropped off in the river, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm ready for something. So it's like
Right.
when you say suffering, I know certain people, they take cold showers or they do the ice baths on a consistent basis. To some people, that might be like, I'm not fucking with that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or vice versa. I mean, like when you look around the planet, bro, all these different initiations that people gotta go through before they can nigga enter the jungle or fucking start hunting with certain people or shit, whatever the case is. That shit is unpleasant. Some of them things that they gotta do, you would consider suffering because they be having to do it for long periods of time. So it's just like
Contentment is not free. You don't just get it. It's not, it's not unearned, in any type of way. And that's why people are required to pay a material cost,
Wait,
if they want.
That's right. That's a fact.
I
But
missed the first word that he said. He said, "What is not?"
I said, contentment is not unearned.
right, yeah, no,
Right.
you're right. So that's when it comes down to the acceptance of being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. If you don't accept it, then you pay the price of not accepting it. Any. Let me say it like this: anytime you have
Well,
a
that's
transaction,
perfect.
that's what I'm saying. So anytime you have a transaction, you're accepting what it is that's being given and what it is that's that what you're giving out on the opposite end. So the acceptance of any level of uncomfortability pretty much dictates if you're comfortable with it or not as soon as you accept it. So again, so being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, it still makes sense because as soon as you make it up in your mind that it's going to benefit you, the sacrifice is to become uncomfortable, right? The reward is being comfortable in the uncomfortable situation. So you don't even have to see the outcome of
The
being
reward is a changed mind
yeah, that's a
about
fact. That's what I'm saying.
about it's again, and it gets into the words like repentance and things like that. But the reward is actually a changed mind about
That's a
what
fact.
the situation actually is. The
Yeah, I'm
situation
rocking
that
with
you viewed as uncomfortable is actually comfort.
you. Yeah, that's the reward. That's what I'm saying. So that's the reward, even regardless of the outcome, right? The immediate reward is the acceptance of being uncomfortable. That's the immediate reward. You can't overlook that the fact that once that the things that once you that you once thought was uncomfortable is now comfortable. So that's an immediate reward, regardless to what the outcome is ultimately, right? And you have to accept that in order to move forward. You can't move forward until you accept it. That's just mathematically sound. So the level of being again the base of everything is to be uncomfortable in a being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation because it changes your mind and reality immediately, just like you just now said. It don't even matter about the outcome. It just matters about, are you willing to accept what you're willing to once not accept? And as soon as you do, you win.
Yep, that's a fact.
Well, I hope everyone learned something today.
See, the Shia be knowing shit. The Shia know.
You be playing Angel's Advocate.
Right.
Give you the benefit of the doubt. Hey, yeah, man. Uh, it's almost that time. You know what I'm saying? It was.
Yeah. Anything outside of right now, because I just now got done eating. My bad, y'all. Anything outside of eating right now, I'm about to pop another bottle around this motherfucker.
Man, my young life just got. I ain't seen him in a couple of days. He was at mom's house.
Oh
Giving
yeah.
us some breaks. I'm like, okay, I got the young life back. He over here trying to do all. That's why you see me
I
keep
was
looking.
yeah. No, I was one. I heard the activity in the background. I'm like, he's
It's
active right
going.
now.
Yeah, he going. Hold on, son. Hold on. But yeah, nah. It's always good building with Nashai. Uh,
That's all I
we
love,
be
y'all.
having, you know what I'm saying? We having some good steel sharpening steel type conversations for sure. So that's
Definitely.
always appreciated, man.
Yeah,
That's what's
man.
up.
And I appreciate Nashai. We didn't even have to tag Nashai to pull up. Um,
Yeah.
and I have to say, I'm gonna say it just like this. I want Chris Posey to pull up. He been talking a lot of talk. And Chris Posey has to pull up.
That's gonna be another hot seat.
You gotta pull up, man. And again, this is not to dictate a right or wrong situation, but I just want the level of the understanding to come to where the spookism is broken down to a level to where it's just like it's understood. And just like when the shy is positioned, and I'm glad that you spoke on the shy because there's a lot of people I don't think that has accepted a certain or the main aspect of what you be saying, like, well, I could just live free and you know what I mean, just have the people come do what they do. I will say I think that the cockiness of how you put it out there may constitute a different energy. I'm gonna say it just like that, right? But ultimately, what's received is what's received, and it's just like, well, don't you go to work and you know receive whatever that you want that you're looking to receive, right? So it's just like as long as you put yourself in that position, you're going to get the outcome that you're looking for, right? So I think on that type of time, I think that people should have the understanding of that. But sometimes we like to be a little bit more humble, uh, just to make the situations more comfortable for levels of receiving and accepting uh ideologies. I'm gonna just say it just like that, right? Uh, so when it comes down to certain things, I get it, but it's just like we have to we when we understand that again, even me personally, I don't put anything above or below. Everything is all working in unison when we're talking about the universe. Uh, and just to make it like that. But then again, we are also on a human mission, and we can't shake that for the life of us, right? So sometimes uh what we need to hold on to drives us, and the spirit allows that. That's one thing we have to understand, that the spirit allows that, and there's a certain reason for that. And when we understand that the spirit allows the ego to take what self-made would say, the driver's seat, right? um we have to sometimes understand, why does the spirit allow the ego to take control, right? And it's just like, well, when you think about it like that, because it's who we are ultimately, and then what are you going to do? So now the spirit has to be like, nigga, what are you doing, ego? And self-made would say, subconscious got me sitting in the back seat. The ego now has to take the back seat, and the spirit has to drive this uh the body. Like, that's what it is. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, this still is a vessel. Sometimes we think that it's not a vessel. Sometimes we think that this is what it is. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? But the mission is to ultimately have the spirit drive this. And we know that. And everybody, again, just like what I was saying earlier, if you ask anybody if they're spiritual, they'll say, yes, we're spiritual. So what does this body shit look like? Then, then they have to say, well, it's just a body. But so why are you allowing this shit to happen? Why? Because not that I'm only human. People will say, well, I'm just only human. It's not the case. The reality is that I'm allowing myself to be human at this time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then we have to look at, well, shit, is there a balance in between the two? Can I be comfortable in being uncomfortable? The comfortability meaning that I'm a spirit. The not comfortable meaning that, well, I'm just conformed to being into this physical, quote unquote, physical humanistic reality. So now I have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean? So it all ties into the same shit. And I'm just trying to go off the conversations that we had in order to make shit make sense. But I think that sometimes, the ego is supposed to win. Who are we without our ego? But then again, it's like, who are we without our spiritual guidance, right? Who are we without that? So it's a constant fight, constant struggle, and it's just like, who wins? The smart person would say nobody wins, but the smart person would say everybody wins. It just depends on who you ask.
There's only one.
Right. So again, Nishai, we appreciate you for pulling up for show. And again, I thank you because I did not know Mendicant. I didn't know what that was, and I didn't know, what where that was starting from or going. So I'm glad that you came on and kind of like expounded on that, because that word for me is just new. But then when I looked at Mindy,
I just found out.
oh, okay, yeah. So it just wasn't me. But I just look at Mindy like as in men, to meaning to to bring together. So I was just like, okay, yeah. But and then I know a can't is always something that can, if that makes sense. Like the can't, like a candidate or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes the ANC or the CANC just means something that is possible or something that's in motion and shit. So
Right.
when it comes down to that, it's just like, okay, yeah, I get it. But I just wanted you to expound on that, because again, like the position that you're in, and I'm gonna tell you what somebody told me, right? The position that I'm in, as far as this I am upgrading shit, is just like, you're going to have people energy. I'm not going to say people. You're going to have energies that's coming towards you just to make sure that you know what the fuck it is that you're doing and what the fuck that you're talking about, and you're going to have to explain it to where when the devils pull up, you're not going to lose, right? But the devil's position is also the angel's position. So when we say playing devil's advocate, it's only to get a different perspective of what is. So we have to reverse engineer in order to see what is real, right?
Right.
So sometimes I think people come at you from a reverse engineering energy just to see how the foundation of what your ideology and or reality works. And again, I'm not speaking for you, but I'm speaking with you to say that I've also have been tested, right? What you saying, hey, this is a thing. The image, I forgot the acronym. I think it's image can't mendicant, right? Is it IMAGE?
Yes, image. Yeah.
Image. Okay, so I'm right. Trust me, I'll be tapped in for real. So so it's the image mendicant, right? This is similar to me saying, I am up game. People receive that, oh, this nigga's a fucking cult leader, right? When you said on your post, hey, we finna do this, y'all give up all this in order to get this, that shit can be looked at as, what the fuck is Nashaya doing and what kind of cult is he starting? Right? not to say that you are a starter of this energy, but the embracement of it, and which is anything, is always going to come with the positive and the negative. But the more that you push it in any type of fashion, is going to have niggas at your doorstep. Like, nigga, you're addressing this. Yeah, you're addressing it, so they're coming to your address. They finna come to your doorstep. Like, what's popping? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like you have to be a magician or or a fucking or an alchemist in order to serve the people but serve yourself at the same time. And that's where the magic comes in at. If you don't understand how to do that, then you're going to be deemed as something that you're not. And people don't understand that that's a part of the work is to make sure that you got all bases covered. And this goes again back to being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
Hey, you doing it here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fact. That's a fact.
So, like I said earlier, like, you know, steel sharpening the swords is sharpening the swords. So that, you know, when you do come in contact with somebody that's trying to, you know, test your gun, you already been testing your gun with the sharpest gunsmith around these mouths. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so you already sharp. You know what I'm saying? So
That's a fact.
that's why I appreciate you always sliding through. You know what I'm saying? And dropping the gems on the people, on me, and you know what I'm saying? Just
Shit, me too.
yeah, you feel
Hey,
me?
yeah,
Help
yeah.
elevating.
I'm just
You
happy
say?
to be here. I'm just happy to be here.
Hey
Yeah,
man, we'd be happy to have you. For real.
definitely.
So yeah, man. On the we're gonna try to get a Posey and maybe pull you and Posey back up.
Yeah.
And Tyrone, we gotta get Tyrone back in the building, man. I know the last time that it didn't work out so the way he wanted it to. So
Yeah,
that'll be a lit show right there.
yeah, because I think that you and Tyrone, because I know that you guys go back and forth a lot on the book. Um, I think that it would be uh, a beautiful thing to see you guys work because ideas and energy can get lost in text and shit. So I think it'll be a beautiful thing to see you guys actually have an interaction via you
Yeah,
know
that'll be lit.
speaking and more or less eye to eye and shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
that'll be lit.
it's just one of the things to where you got two energies that's super 10 toes down on what should be.
Yeah, I give him that. Yeah.
Hey, Selfmade. Hey, Selfmade. Hey, what size shoe you wear?
Hey, these some big shoes, these some big feet to feel. You know what I'm saying? I got. Why? What's up? What, you got some shoes or something? You need some
I
shoes? What's going
I
on?
need some shoes. My shoes are ruined right now.
Well,
It's
I wear
been
a size 14, boy. You finna be running
boy,
around here
you
looking
will stop it. For real?
like I'm dead ass.
You was sitting down when I met you, so I don't know.
Exactly. If I would have jumped out, you'd have been like, okay, I see why you got these 14s. What size you wear though?
Like a 11, 10 and a half, 11. It just depends.
10 and a half, 11. Okay, you be what, like Natomas? I'll just tap in with you, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely because I'm a size 11. I definitely got I
Anything extra,
definitely
be appreciated.
yeah. I definitely got some shit. But you can't wear this shit that I wear in the shower because they gonna be like, nah, nigga.
You got some money?
Yeah,
I need
like
some.
yeah.
Where
Some
you work at,
shoes.
nigga? Where your car at, goddamn
When
it?
you
I know
asked
your car around
earlier,
this
hey, when
motherfucker.
you asked earlier, what does that look like? All right, it's looked like many different things at different times. At one time, it was we had all the black trucks from that year. At one time, it was we were staying in a mansion in Napa County,
Right.
for some time. And so like it looks different at different times. But all I want to, people just need to. And the first thing people need to do is to live consciously,
Right.
and that's how I really am able. I guess that's where that and people will call like maybe cocky or arrogance, but it's just is confidence in my experience, you know.
Right,
And if anything, when people are testing my metal, I'm there to equally test theirs, you know, because experience allow you to know what someone else is going through.
To speak ultimately, because it's just like, okay, well, what are you talking about for real? And
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, me personally, I don't have a problem with what you're saying. Like, if you look at the last show that you was on when you were explaining what you were talking about, there was people that was rocking with you. Like, you know what I mean, in terms of the manifestation side, right? But again, you have to be, and you can be where you're at. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is why I tell people, um, people think that the goal is to uh, be to a certain point to where you get to the top of your shit, right? Nothing wrong with that. But the ultimate goal is to be where you're at and then be able to bring the people to where you're at or to keep yourself to where they're at. And if you're not ready to do that work, then then you're going to be stagnant because everything is 360, everything is a full circle. So getting your crown is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But are you able to
On others.
are you able to say I don't got the crown and give the other people the crown? What does the work look like? You can to come into Nashaya is great, is grand, is dope as fuck. Can you not be who you are, Nashaya, when it comes down to that? So this is the whole ideology in real time behind the I am everything and nothing. When I tap into this Woon energy for real, nigga, it's up. I know that I'm there, right? Am I still down to earth? A lot of people say, well, that motherfucker was down to earth. As far up as I want to be, am I still down to earth? If you watch the and I just have to reference this, if you watch the Kanye documentary to where his mom was telling Kanye, like, you could be, as high as you want to be, but you have to be on the ground at the same time. This is what that looks like for real. This is the work for real. It's just like, well, okay, it's up gang. My main shit, up gang. Like, you know what I mean? But am I so far up that I can't come down? If I can only gain up, then how far is up? Is up a curse or a blessing? So it just comes down. It just comes down to, if I want the people to serve me, I also equally have to be here to serve the people. And the relationship becomes, it's not me, it's us. Right? So it's just like, my thing was, I am. And then my am became, we are the I am. Not because I need people to feel where I'm coming from, but this is a real understanding to where it's just like, if it's just me, what does it look like? It don't make sense if it's just me. It makes sense because it's us. Because it's us. Not just because it's us, but because it's us. So
all right.
That's the real battle. That's when the quote unquote demons come for you to say, like, oh, you think it's just you? Oh, you think you popping? Do you know how to feed demons? Do you know how to bring demons to where you at? Is your door so closed to where if your shit ain't popping, the demons is gonna kick in your door and murk everything moving? Or
You're finna scare them.
Yeah. Or do the demons feel comfortable where you're at? Demons can pull up to where I'm at. It's no difference. It's nigga, feel comfortable. What do you want to do? I am. It's up. But at the same time, what I'm ultimately trying to say is that like, uh be accessible, uh, but don't be accessible, if that makes sense.
Hey man, for
I
the
think
ones that get it, you know what I mean. They gonna get it. I think the shy knows what's up. You know what I'm saying?
it's all love. I gotcha.
But yeah, I'm about to get this. Young life is on my line right now, and he be using this computer to watch all his shows and shit. So he own me.
Oh, your time is up, man. It's a
That's all
wrap.
right. It's all right. He is not. I'm like, all right, just give me another 5 minutes. Give me. He's not. He's on me. But yeah,
Hell
nah.
yeah,
It was a good show. We got a lot of gems dropped for show on the topics.
that's a fact.
Um, hopefully, people that still dealing with certain things on those types of times can come in here and get something. Get some knowledge. No such thing as good or bad. None of that shit. You know what I mean? It's a perception thing, man. You gotta. It's all based on your own, experiences and perception, perspective, all of that type of shit,
Yeah.
man.
I feel like if you still think that things are bad, you still on your mission.
Exactly. You still moving. You still grooving.
Ain't nothing wrong with
I
that.
mean, oh man,
We.
my phone about to die, but I love y'all.
Oh
Hey
yeah,
man,
no,
appreciate you,
appreciate
dog. Always. To the next one.
Peace.
it. Yeah, man. Another one.
And
Another
shout out
one.
to the chat. I seen them in here, man. They done, you feel me? Sprinkled in and sprinkled out. Whoever's
Yeah,
still in here, I still see somebody in here. Whoever's still in here, man. Shout out to y'all for watching, chiming in.
definitely. Um,
Um,
yeah, I seen some new people come in today. Like
yeah, true that.
shouts out to the homeboy Ison. Shouts out to the homeboy Frostmain, the first street. I mean, and that's a yellow. I really got it. I want to have him on here. I invited him on here before, so it was kind of dope to see him in the comments and shit. But he's the young life and shit. So when he pull up, um, I want the people to understand his energy because he did pen time and he really changed his life as a young life and is successful in different shit and he has a different aspect to life when it comes down to his generation. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that he was talking about certain things like our people and shit like that, so he still got room
Yeah,
to
we gotta
grow.
get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
get bro
But
in here for
how
sure.
where he's at right now in terms of where he came from,
This is
he
a
would
dope
be
spot.
the top of the crop. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, nah, we gotta try to, get a cool little group on for the next show. Try to get some new
Definitely.
heads in here, you know what I mean, and just see what kind of topics come up and shit, man. That'd be dope. Do a little freestyle event or something.
Oh shit! Hey, you want to know what? I did not. Let me say this real quick because I'm looking through the comments right now. I got to give a shout out to my big cousin. He was up in this motherfucker. I did not see that shit till just now. So shout out to cousin if you watch this shit later or whatever. That shit is lit.
Right, fam in the building.
Yeah, that shit is lit. I didn't even notice that.
But yeah, man, we got another one in the books as always. Dope show. I don't
Yeah,
think we ain't had not when that wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
right. And again, before we go, I'd like to super salute. I'll probably check my phone right now, and it's probably people who are supporting this fucking children's book because the shit been going all day, all yesterday. So I appreciate y'all for real.
Yeah,
Um,
my shit finna come before the night. I'm telling you.
oh yeah, nah, and I appreciate that shit too. It's just
Yes, sir.
again, this is a new avenue for me in terms of just putting out intellectual property and shit. So it's just like hell yeah,
Man.
hell yeah, like that shit is lit and people are fucking with it. and people are supporting it. But it's just like my phone been jumping all goddamn day. So I
for real.
everybody who tapping in and shit for real.
Yeah, no, that's lit, man. If y'all haven't, tap in with the man. Yeah. I know it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Nobles, but you feel me? It's that hand-to-hand exchange. You know what I'm saying? That's that real exchange.
Definitely, and just to add on to that, like if you do get it from Barnes and Nobles or Amazon, and you live in the Sacramento region or surrounding areas and shit, I am currently in the process of doing a book signing event. So that don't mean that you can't get a signed copy. It's actually because of y'all that I'm actually able to create this space to have a book signing event. So that's just gonna be lit. But for the people who have not done that, and you can tap in to get a personalized signature copy, and it comes with a signature copy, then a bookmark and shit like that. And then also it's more or less helping the business grow as well, in terms of me independently being a business owner. Because I have to say it like that, because that is what it is. Amazon and Barnes and Nobles are just the middleman to the business, which is me. Like, so I do appreciate that, because it makes the algorithm through them go, do what it do. But I am the entity, I am the business. So when you get it from me, then more dope shit is going to happen. It's not like I'm taking this money.
No tax, man.
Like, yeah, I'm not taking this money, I'm spending crazily. It's funding future projects, like, you know what I mean? So you guys are going to constantly see me put out things for the people, like, you know what I mean? It's not for me, it's for y'all.
Ain't no percentages when it's just hand to hand. You know what I'm saying? Man to man, hand to hand. Ain't no percentages, cuts, or none of that.
Yeah, I ain't gotta cut nobody into my business.
Right.
Straight up.
Support Black-owned businesses.
Facts.
Yeah, man. We got another one in the books.
Man, I appreciate y'all. Super salute everybody who tapped in with the podcast tonight.
Definitely.
All the comments, energy, everything is appreciated and accepted for sure.
Love y'all, man. To the next one.
Yeah, peace to the young life. I see the young life. Where you at?
He trying to say what's popping.
What's up?
Look at his hair. You all wild.
He got hair.
Say what's up. Say hi.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you saw him the piece. Hit him with the piece. Do that again. Show him the piece. Show him.
Hey.
Come on, hold it up. You gotta hold it up.
Oh, okay. You
don't want to do it. You gotta hold it up. Now you just gonna have your hands flailing up here. All right, y'all.
Here we go.
Peace.
Always going up, you can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us. Always going up, you can't take from us. We ain't slowing up. Look what life gave us.